Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy KCM What Ifs. Today we are gonna be reading Hashirama's Heir, or What If Naruto Was Hashirama's Successor. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Naruto? Naruto? We need to go. Tsunade-sama is calling for us, came the voice of Naruto's pink-haired teammate, Sakura. Sakura was given a summons for a mission that Naruto was to be the leader of, yet he was busy messing around in Training Ground 22. Messing around with a kid in a spar. One moment, Sakura-chan. I want to see what he can do, said Naruto as he blocked a punch with his palm. The person punching Naruto smiled at him as he dispelled in a poof of smoke to reveal the same person, a spiky, brown-haired 13-year-old, standing several feet away. Kage Bunshin, Shadow Clone? When did you finally learn that? A while ago, about a year to be exact, said the ninja as he ran through 4 hand seals ending with the tiger seal. And I also learned this. Katan, Hizekishu, fire style, ash pile burning. The brown-haired kid spewed out an enormous cloud of ash that immediately consumed Naruto. Once it surrounded Naruto, the ninja clicked a piece of flint on his teeth to ignite the entire ash cloud in a fiery explosion. Yes, I got him, shouted the young ninja as he moved the scarf he was wearing away from his Chunin vest. The young teen was wearing the standard outfit of Konoha, except with black instead of blue, just like his hero, idol, and rival, Naruto. He also added a red scarf with the kanji for monkey written down the length of it. This was none other than Sarutobi Konohamaru, recently promoted Chunin of the Leaf. Konohamaru had grown up well. Due to his private tutoring with Ebisu with his 2 teammates Moegi and Udon, Konohamaru became a genin at the age of 12 and 1 year later, won the Chunin exams in Kyumo. This granted him a promotion to Chunin for his skills. Like all members of the Sarutobi clan, Konohamaru was skilled in fire manipulation and taijutsu. And of course, just like his grandfather, he was a budding bojutsu, staff technique, user. Heh, as if. I knew that wouldn't be enough to get you, said Konohamaru before biting his thumb and slamming it on the ground. Kuchios no jutsu, summoning technique. A poof of smoke later and a monkey as tall as the 5'7" Konohamaru appeared. Konohamaru. What's up, man? Need something? Came the surprisingly deep voice of what appeared to be a teenage ape. Hey, Yeoman. Can you transform for me? I need to kick my rival's ass, said Konohamaru as his summon nodded his head. Henge, transform. Yeoman poofed into a large staff with a red shaft and gold tips. Konohamaru snagged the adamantine staff right before slamming it down into the ground. A few seconds later, Naruto came flying out of the ground a few feet away, barely avoiding the end of the staff as it elongated and flew past his head. Naruto smiled slightly as he landed on the ground and Konohamaru retracted his staff back to its normal size. What do you think of Naruto-senpai? Pretty good, questioned Konohamaru with a smirk as Naruto nodded his head. You're getting there, I'll have to ask BA-chan, but you do seem like you're Umbu material. However, still not good enough to beat me, said Naruto as he placed his hands in the snake seal. Mokutan, Mokusatsu Shirbari no Jutsu, wood style, smothering binding technique, thought Naruto as a branch flew out of his palm directly at Konohamaru before diverging into a web of branches. Oh shit, said Konohamaru as he smashed the first couple of branches with his staff but couldn't stop all of them. Eventually, Konohamaru was left tightly snagged in the branches as his staff dispelled itself in a puff of smoke. No, so close. I'll find a way to get past your Mokutan. Just you wait, boss. Konohamaru looked around to realize that he was all alone in the clearing. Boss. You got to let me down. I can't get out of this thing, cried Konohamaru as he struggled to get out of the branches. Hokage's Tower. Tenchi Bridge, questioned Naruto as he finished reading the mission scroll given to him by Tsunade. Orochimaru will be there? Along with Sasuke probably? At the name Sasuke, Naruto noticed Sakura's body gave an involuntary twitch. At least she didn't get somber about it anymore, or maybe she already sort of knew what was going on. Did BA-chan already tell her? I mean, she's pretty high up, being an assistant of the Hokage. Maybe she already knows, thought Naruto before focusing back on what Tsunade had to say about the mission at hand. Yes, Naruto. We received intel that Sasori was supposed to meet up with a spy of Orochimaru's, but that was actually a way for Orochimaru to take out the dead Tsunade, said Tsunade. That's why we're sending you. Since you were the one to meet Sasori and actually hear him speak and see what he looked like, you can transform into him so you can take out his spy and Orochimaru. While also trying to find out a lead on Sasuke. What happens if we find Sasuke-kun, Tsunade Shirsho? Questioned Sakura as Tsunade shifted her brown eyes to her pink-haired student. Well, Sasuke is considered an A-rank nuke unofficially. So you will handle it like any other A-rank nuke, capture him if possible. But if not, put him down. Bring him back, either dead or alive, said Tsunade with a stern voice as Sakura's face never changed. That's good, Sakura. Glad you're not too depressed about it still. Great, well, if that's that, then you two are good to go. I would send some more people, but I feel like you two will be enough for what could happen, and if necessary, you can always flee faster with just 2 people. Make haste, as we only have 2 days left before our window of opportunity is up, and one more thing, be careful, said Tsunade as Naruto nodded his head. Sakura disappeared in a cherry blossom swirl and Naruto was about to follow before deciding to make a request. Actually, BA-chan. Konohamaru has hopes of joining Umbu. Maybe I could take him along with me on this mission despite you only wanting 2 people to go. I've gone against him, he seems like he could handle himself in a fight and that he knows what to do and how to do it. But I'd like to see him on a real mission before I give him my recommendation. Is that fine? Asked Naruto as Tsunade thought over it for a second. His performance in the last Chunin exams was pretty good. Hell, he even won. Why not let the kid go along, but be sure to not let him hold you back. I'd like to see that this mission gets completed, said Tsunade as Naruto nodded his head again before vanishing in a flicker of movement. Training Ground 22. How the hell am I supposed to get out of here? Shouted Konohamaru loudly as he was still stuck in Naruto's jutsu. Right as Konohamaru was prepared to give up, he heard 2 footsteps land behind him, followed by a palm being placed onto the ground. The wooden branches tangled snugly around Konohamaru receded into the ground as Konohamaru was released and landed on his feet. Hey, Konohamaru. I want you to go on a mission with me. Are you okay with that? Questioned Naruto as Konohamaru turned around abruptly with a big grin. Of course I am, boss. This would be our first mission together, shouted Konohamaru with enthusiasm at the prospect of going on a mission with Naruto. What are we doing? I'll brief you at the North Gate in 30 minutes. Don't be late, said Naruto before disappearing in a simple flicker. Konohamaru stared dumbfounded at the speed of Naruto. That Shunshin was so fast. It's like he was never there, said Konohamaru before placing a hand in a half-ram seal. I need to get mine that fast. Konohamaru then disappeared in a swirl of leaves as he headed off to get ready for the mission at hand. 2 days later, Tenchi Bridge. Just so you remember. This is an A-rank mission, said Naruto to his teammates after landing in a clearing near the Tenchi Bridge. Our mission parameters are to ambush Orochimaru when he attempts to ambush Sasori. If possible, we are to capture him, and if not, we will kill the target. The same goes for his spy. Naruto's teammates nodded their heads at the mission, though Konohamaru's hands were trembling slightly. Orochimaru. He killed Gigi. I could care less about capturing him. If I see him, I'll finish him off no matter wh. Konohamaru, came the voice of Naruto, stopping Konohamaru from his thoughts. I know how you feel. Gigi was precious to me as well. But if you let your emotions take control, then you will surely fail. Emotions are only helpful if they are controlled and concentrated. It's the same concept as a Rasengan. If you don't maintain the sphere correctly, the power will disperse over a wider area, significantly weakening the jutsu. But if you contain it, that's when you're able to do some damage. Konohamaru looked at Naruto with stars in his eyes as Sakura scoffed. What kind of lesson was that? It made sense, but he definitely could have found a better example. Or at least said it better, thought Sakura. Naruto then placed his hands in the snake seal. Mokuton Henge, wood element transformation, thought Naruto as the ground underneath him burst open with branches that surrounded him along with a smoke cloud. Once the smoke cloud died down, it revealed Naruto transformed perfectly into a copy of Sasori's puppet. How do I look? Came the gravelly voice of the disguised Naruto as he attempted to imitate Sasori's voice. Sakura mulled over it for a second before nodding her head. How the hell are we supposed to know? You were the only one of us who saw him like that, said Sakura with a tick mark as Konohamaru laughed slightly. Naruto laughed sheepishly. Right. Anyway, I will go out and meet this spy. After getting information out of him, I will attempt to capture him. Unless Orochimaru appears before I get the chance to. In that instance, I may or may not signal you two to come out and help. Even though I'm sure I could take Orochimaru, I'm not sure how powerful his subordinate could be. So be ready on my signal and only on my signal. Got it, Konohamaru? Hi boss. I won't let you down, said Konohamaru as Naruto nodded his head. Alrighty then. It's time. Disperse, said Naruto as the three shinobi of the leaf jumped to their different spots. Konohamaru and Sakura landed together in the forest overlooking the bridge while Naruto landed on a trail headed toward the bridge. Once he landed, he began to move toward the meeting place that was situated in the center of the Tenchi Bridge. With this strong breeze going right now, we should be able to move closer and still avoid detection, said Sakura before moving closer to get a better view of the bridge. This should do. Konohamaru followed her as he looked out to see a cloaked figure approaching Naruto on the bridge. There goes the spy. I hope this goes well and we get to see Orochimaru. I can't wait to get a crack at him, said Konohamaru clenching his fist as Naruto made contact with the spy. On the bridge. It's good to see you again, Sasori-sama, said the spy before removing his hood to reveal ash-gray hair and round glasses. That combination was only prevalent on one known associate of Orochimaru. Yakushi Kabuto. Oh, this is better than just getting Orochimaru, thought Naruto before responding to his spy. Kabuto, were you followed? Questioned Sasori as Kabuto looked behind him for a second. Kabuto turned back around to face him before answering. No, we're fine. How are you holding up? Kabuto exhaled a breath before pushing his glasses back. I still feel a bit shaken from when your technique was released, and I remembered who I really was. My mind is a bit cloudy, as well, said Kabuto. I have questions for you. Tell me about his hideouts, and that Uchiha boy. Kabuto nodded his head as he relayed all the information he had on those two subjects. Back in the forest. Kabuto's the spy, said a shocked Sakura at the revelation of Kabuto being the spy. I mean, out of all the people, Kabuto would be the last person I'd expect. Especially considering he's Orochimaru's right-hand man. Man, that Sasori guy who planted Kabuto must be amazing to get a spy that close to him. Orochimaru is no pushover and I wouldn't think that he'd be able to get duped like that. But since the spy is here, we should be starting soon, said Konohamaru, who was decked out in Umbu gear. In his hand was a white porcelain mask with red paint covering it that depicted a monkey's face. As Konohamaru placed the mask on, Sakura let out a small smile. Trying to join Umbu, huh? Questioned Sakura as Konohamaru nodded his head. I remember when both of my teammates did the same. You're not just doing this because Naruto did it, are you? Konohamaru shook his head as he turned to face Sakura. No, but I guess in a way my decision is influenced by boss. I plan to join Umbu. Get really good, and once boss becomes the Hokage, he'll make me his right-hand man, Umbu commander. This means that eventually, I'll become Hokage once he gives up the hat to me. What makes you so sure that Naruto's going to become Hokage? I mean, it's not set in stone, maybe he will. Started Sakura before realizing what she was saying and seeing Konohamaru's porcelain mask stare. Never mind. Of course, he'll be Hokage. Whenever Shosho decides. I don't know what I was saying, finished Sakura as she noticed movement on the bridge. Boss, shouted Konohamaru, preparing to jump into action at any time once the signal was given. On the bridge. If you hadn't pulled out that kunai Sasori-sama, I wouldn't have been able to dodge in time, came the voice of Kabuto, standing next to Sasori as they opposed a fearsome foe. Just the man I was looking for. Guess we can have a little bit of fun before I call over Sakura and Konohamaru, thought Naruto before he prepared to attack the Sannin before him. Kukukuku, Sasori. That outfit reminds me of the old days, came the sinister voice of Orochimaru as he stared down at his former partner. Hope you don't mind if I intrude on this interesting conversation. Orochimaru, I see you followed Kabuto, said Sasori next to Kabuto as Orochimaru laughed once again. Good eye, Captain Obvious. No need to be rude, I just thought I'd come and thank you, old friend. That is all, said Orochimaru as Kabuto's hand glowed a bright blue color. Kabuto then raised his hand before bringing it down quickly into the body of Sasori. Seems he was in on it all along, thought Naruto, leaping out of the destroyed wooden puppet with a cut on his right shoulder. Orochimaru then immediately went on the offensive at the airborne enemy. Sanaijishu, hidden shadow snake hands, said Orochimaru before thrusting his arm forward. Out of his sleeve, several snakes came out of it at a blistering pace set directly at Naruto. The snakes wrapped themselves around Naruto before biting at him, though once the first bite occurred, Naruto turned into a wooden replica of himself. It seems trouble has appeared, said Orochimaru as the wooden Naruto landed on the ground, and the real Naruto came up from the bridge floor. I didn't expect to see you here, Naruto-kun. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't expecting you here, Orochimaru. And it's so good to see you again, Kabuto, said Naruto, who was wearing his own Umbu outfit sans mask. Though I did expect this ambush to be a little better. I mean really, having just Kabuto attempt to slice open Sasori, followed by that weak snake jutsu. I give it a C- at best. Kabuto pushed his glasses up with a smirk as he looked at Naruto. I'm impressed by Naruto-kun. For you to be here, especially disguised as Sasori, would mean that you've met Sasori and somehow got him to tell you about this meeting, as he and I were the only two who knew of it. But Sasori isn't the type of man to divulge that type of information regularly, so that would mean you either bested him in battle and he told you, or maybe someone in our own organization told Konoha. But the latter should be impossible, as only myself and Orochimaru knew of this meeting, deduced Kabuto acutely as Naruto shrugged. Orochimaru then grinned as he took notice of something. Why don't you bring out those other two pests that are hiding, said Orochimaru with a smug grin. Naruto looked for a second before pointing his finger in a gun-like fashion at Orochimaru. Not a second later, Sakura and the Saru, monkey, masked Konohamaru came lunging out of the woods and directly on the bridge between the two opposing parties. Sakura-chan, do you mind handling Kabuto? I'm sure Saru would like to join me in facing Orochimaru, said Naruto, to which Sakura nodded her head with ease. Of course, I heard about Kabuto's encounter with Tsunade-sama those years back. And he thinks that the fluke of a victory is worth something, said Sakura, cracking her knuckles, reminiscent of Tsunade. I guess I need to show him that slugs are better than snakes. Kabuto's hands glowed a bright blue as his smirk never left. What makes you think I'd let that plan work? As if I'd let that plan go through without a fight. You'll have to forcefully remove me from Orochimaru's side started Kabuto before he felt a presence appear between him and Orochimaru. The familiar swirl sound of a Rasengan sounded off before it planted itself neatly into Kabuto's back, sending him flying past Konohamaru and Sakura into the woods. Naruto then turned to face Orochimaru as Saru landed beside him. "Let's do this, shall we?" said Naruto as Orochimaru grinned and took off into the opposite side of the woods. Saru took off immediately after him as Naruto followed behind the Sannin and teenage Umbu. As this was happening, Sakura stood stock on the bridge alone. "Well, I guess I'll go see if Kabuto is still alive," said Sakura as she walked back into the forest to find Kabuto, who was surely hurt by the Rasengan from earlier. With Naruto and Saru. "Who is this kid?" thought Orochimaru as he dodged a flurry of punches and kicks from the young Umbu with practiced ease. Brown hair is common in the Leaf Village, but this fighting style. It kinda reminds me of Sensei and that Asuma kid. Is this boy Sensei's grandson? Orochimaru continued to dodge the punches with snake-like agility before lashing out with a kick of his own. As the kick connected, the Umbu disappeared in a puff of smoke. Kage Bunshin, Shadow Clone. "This kid is good," thought Orochimaru as he felt a presence appear behind him. Saru landed on the branch of a tree behind Orochimaru as he ran through 7-hand seals. Ram, horse, snake, dragon, rat, ox, tiger, thought Saru as he flew through the seals for his technique. Katan, Karyu Enden, fire style, fire dragon bullet. 3 streams of fire flew from Saru's mouth, one directly at Orochimaru and the other 2 at a 45-degree angle toward Orochimaru. The heads of the fire streams turned into large dragon heads as they converged on Orochimaru. All 3 fire dragons converged on Orochimaru at the same time as he was sent careening toward the forest floor. One thing about Saru's jutsu was the heads of the dragons each held an explosive note. A powerful explosive note, and once Orochimaru hit the forest floor, they detonated in an enormous explosion that leveled a massive chunk of the surrounding area in a large dome of fire. Naruto landed beside Saru before whistling at the display. "That was pretty nice," said Naruto, patting Saru on the back. "Though next time you should really take notice of when you're battling a clone." The fire died down as Orochimaru rose from the soot-covered ground, unharmed from Saru's previous jutsu. "Kukukuku. Seems Konoha has another promising ninja in its ranks." "A Sarutobi it would seem," said Orochimaru in a calm voice, displaying no fear in the face of Naruto and the impressive but non-worrisome Umbu beside him. "Though if that's your best, you'd never be able to kill me. Let alone get Sasuke-kun back." "Whoever said we wanted Sasuke back? We're just here to capture or kill you and Kabuto, that was the mission. Finding Sasuke would be just a bonus," said Naruto as he landed in the destroyed area in front of Orochimaru. Saru landed next to Naruto as Orochimaru laughed again at Naruto's statement. "Kill me? I'd like to see you try, Naruto-kun," said Orochimaru mockingly before laying flat on the ground and opening his mouth sickeningly wide for his next jutsu. "Mandara no Jin, formation of 10,000 snakes," said Orochimaru as hundreds, thousands of snakes poured from his mouth at an alarmingly fast rate at the 2 Konoha nin. Halfway to the 2, blades began to protrude from the mouths of the snakes as they pointed them directly at Naruto and Saru. "What an impressive amount of snakes," thought Naruto before slamming a palm onto the ground. Mokuton Kuchios, Hori Nikashoku Butsu, would release summoning, burrowing carnivorous Buddha. The ground rumbled in front of Naruto as the snakes approached. Right before reaching him though, the ground opened up to reveal an enormous plant that took the shape of a Venus flytrap with 4 sides, which proceeded to gobble down the approaching snakes with one bite. Though it managed to eat all the snakes, the swords that came out of the mouths of the snakes were poisonous, and as such, the plant creature began to feel the effects of the poison immediately, prompting it to dispel a few seconds later. "Why not just blow him away and be done with it, Naruto?" came the voice of Naruto's partner, Kurama. "I grow bored of seeing this snake." "Yo, Kurama. I feel you on that. How do you think I should do it? Questioned Naruto back to his partner before feeling Kurama's chakra flood his system. Of course you want me to just blast him away with pure power. Well, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. A vibrant orange chakra shroud surrounded Naruto as four tails appeared swaying behind him. Stand back, Saru, I don't want you to get caught in the crosshairs of this, said Naruto before going back to his internal partner. You want to do this? Don't mind if I do, said the now Kurama-controlled Naruto, whose eyes were now red and slit due to Kurama's control over his body. Kurama placed his hands on the tiger seal. Katan, Kitsune Baimu, Fire Style, Fox Beam. Orochimaru noticed the chakra buildup from Naruto and decided to act accordingly. After biting both of his thumbs, Orochimaru slammed them both onto the ground. Kuchios, Sunju Rashomon, Summoning, Triple Rashomon, said Orochimaru as three large demonic gates rose from the ground in front of him. A second after rising, the gate was struck by the powerful beam from Naruto. Once the beam hit the gate, it expanded to carve a massive hole through it. After going through the first gate, the beam continued to go through the rest of the gates before exploding once past the last gate. The explosion blew the last gate out of the ground as the area behind it was shrouded in a huge explosion of energy. Once the explosion died down, Naruto regained control of his body as he looked at the blast zone. The bottom half of Orochimaru's body was stuck protruding out of the ground comically as the top half of his body was gone. Why do I feel he's not done? Questioned Naruto. Naruto was proven correct when a sword came flying out of the ground at him from the mouth of Orochimaru's head that followed it. Luckily Naruto was fast enough to sidestep the blade before holding a palm directly in front of Orochimaru's approaching head. A Rasengan appeared in Naruto's hand in a split second as Orochimaru crashed directly into it, blasting his head clean off. Naruto and Saru waited for a few seconds as they realized that Orochimaru hadn't moved yet. A minute later, Saru took off his mask to reveal his young Sarutobi face. I guess he's done. That's the end of Orochimaru, said Konohamaru as Naruto nodded his head. Let's go check on Sakura. While Konohamaru took off, Naruto stood staring for a few more seconds before eventually deciding to follow Konohamaru back. Once Konohamaru and Naruto were gone, the bottom half of Orochimaru ripped open to reveal another Orochimaru. Kukukuku. Seems that boy has gotten powerful. But once I absorb Sasuke-kun, no one will be able to stand up to me, said Orochimaru as he turned to leave. Sorry Kabuto, but I guess your services are no longer necessary. Maybe if you're still alive, I'll come and get you. If not. Orochimaru then disappeared in a shunshin as he left the area. The next day, we may not have gotten Orochimaru, said Naruto, walking beside Konohamaru and Sakura. Naruto then looked at the tied-up and sedated Kabuto on top of the slug Sakura summoned. But at least we got the next best thing. And we killed Orochimaru too. Don't forget that, said Konohamaru as Naruto nodded his head. Konohamaru went to pat Naruto on the back but Naruto dodged it. What's wrong, boss? You alright? I'm fine Konohamaru. Don't even worry about it, said Naruto before Sakura realized something weird about Naruto before her. Naruto, said Sakura in a sweet tone. You wouldn't happen to be a clone. A clone that's taking the place of the original just so he can go to Kumogakure to see Yugito, are you? Naruto put up placating hands before blowing out a sigh. Do you want the truth or a lee dash? Started Naruto before getting decked by a punch from the irate pink-haired Kunoichi. Naruto, shouted Sakura angrily as Konohamaru had to cover his ears at her shrieking. Same time, just outside of Kumo. Scouting mission? Questioned Naruto walking beside the pretty blonde Jinchuriki of the two-tailed monster cat, Yugito ni. What's so special about this place? Yes, a scouting mission, Naruto-kun. Just because I'm a Jinchuriki doesn't mean I don't have to go on scouting missions. I'm one of the best at it and I actually like scouting missions, said Yugito, turning her head to look at her boyfriend. Plus this is the site where several of our shinobi have gone missing. So Raikage-sama wants me to check it out. Naruto groaned a little, letting his shoulders slump. This is going to be boring, said Naruto before feeling a hand lay on his cheek. I know you were expecting to just have a great couple of days with me, but don't worry, once this mission is up. I promise I'm all yours after this is all over, said Yugito as Naruto perked up slightly. Yugito then deeply kissed the Kyubi Jinchuriki, sending him blissfully to the ground once she released it. Now you just rest here and I'll be back in an hour or so. Yes ma'am, said Naruto with his eyes closed as Yugito turned around to continue walking. Hey, Yugi-chan. Yugito was about 20 feet from Naruto when she stopped hearing Naruto call for her. Yes Naruto-kun, said Yugito, turning back around to see Naruto, now standing in front of her with a smile on his face. I love you, said Naruto, deeply kissing Yugito before moving his head back. Be careful. Yugito smiled back at Naruto, internally giddy at Naruto's words. I love you too, Naruto-kun, said Yugito as Naruto was now laying back down in the spot he was in before, 20 feet away from her. Yugito turned back around as she continued to go and begin her mission, happier this time. A little over an hour passed as Naruto sat up into a lotus position. I wonder how strong my sensing ability is when using Sage Mode. Yugi-chan has got to be several miles away, but I should still be able to reach her, especially considering she'll be walking back, thought Naruto. That Sage Mode of yours might make it to her. But are you really going to use that power just to spy on your mate's chakra signature, said Kurama on Naruto's head. Naruto looked sheepish at being caught like that. You can't tell me that you wouldn't do the same, questioned Naruto back to his partner. I'm a being of pure chakra, given form. I don't have the same weird thoughts as you, if I do even have thoughts for that matter. Outside of your body, I'm considered to be just a rampaging beast that destroys everything in my path. So, I guess I wouldn't do the same as you. I might have no clue what to think if I do think at all. Damn. That's dark. I think you have thoughts about Kurama. Just because you're a chakra construct doesn't mean you don't have thoughts and all that. You're one of the wisest beings I know, person, animal, or chakra construct. There's no way you don't have thoughts, replied Naruto back to Kurama. I hope you're not believing what some shinobi said to you in the past. Forget him, you're Kurama of the Leaf and my partner, along with my oldest friend. Plus, I know you want to find out how strong this is anyway. You're right, I do. Fire that Sage Mode up, said Kurama with a grin at Naruto's words. And friend. Pfft, as if I'd want to be friends with you. Wait, am I thinking right now? Thought Kurama while Naruto smiled and nodded. Naruto then placed his hands on his knees before closing his eyes for a second. The trademark red markings of his Sage Mode began to appear on his face before he opened his eyes to reveal his golden sage eyes. Great, now to find Yugi-chan, said Naruto as he began to scan the surrounding area for his girlfriend. Maybe I'll surprise her when I find her. Continuing his scan of the area, Naruto couldn't locate Yugito's chakra signature. That's odd. You have to have covered this entire area. So where is she? Questioned Kurama as Naruto couldn't answer him. Well, let's go find her then. You never know, maybe something bad happened. Naruto stood up before rocketing off the ground in a powerful leap. Naruto came down in the center of the town that Yugito was searching for. Upon landing, Naruto closed his eyes to focus more on his sensing ability. After a few seconds, Naruto panicked slightly when he felt Yugito's chakra signature nearly a mile away, surrounded by two other chakra signatures. Akatsuki travels in pairs, said Kurama as Naruto's eyes widened before he took off in a series of sunshine to where he could feel Yugito's chakra. Naruto appeared outside of a sewer-like area that was closed off due to a ton of rocks. Someone must have blocked off the exits in hopes of keeping the battle closed, said Naruto before creating an enormous Rasengan in his hand. Senpo, Odama Rasengan, Sage Art, big ball Rasengan, said Naruto before smashing the Rasengan into the side of the sewer, destroying an entire section of the sewer as he walked in with pieces of rocks falling on top of him. "Who the fuck are you?" came the loud voice of a man with slick-back silver hair. He carried a large triple-bladed scythe and had on a burned and singed Akatsuki cloak. "You're ruining the ceremony I'm trying to accomplish here. Haiden, calm down." "That's the Kyubi Jinchuriki," came the voice of another man, donning a perfectly conditioned Akatsuki cloak and mask. The mask obscured his entire face besides his eyes, which were green with red sclerae. "He is not one to be trifled with." "Naruto-kun," came the voice of Yugito, cloaked in her blue chakra shroud. "I'm glad you came," said Yugito. Naruto performed a shunshin to appear beside Yugito as he checked her for injury. "Are you okay?" asked Naruto, worried about Yugito. "Of course I am. I've only been going against the guy with the silver hair, who is actually terrible at fighting. The other one decided not to attack though, so I've just been beating down on this guy," said Yugito, internally happy that Naruto was so worried about her. "But he won't die though. No matter how much I hurt him, he just shrugs it off and keeps coming. He even said that he was immortal." "Immortal? As if he won't die?" questioned Naruto, intrigued by the immortal comment. Before Yugito could answer though, Haiden decided to answer for her. "Yes, I'm immortal. That's what happens when you follow Jashin-sama," said Haiden, placing his scythe over his shoulder as he looked at Naruto. "Even you and your powers wouldn't be able to kill me." "Is that so?" questioned Naruto as Kurama decided to add his own 2 cents. "That guy must really have a death wish. Just because you're immortal doesn't mean you can't be blown to a bunch of tiny little pieces," said Kurama as Naruto internally nodded to Kurama. "Haiden, Leader Sama said that we are not to go against the Kyubi Jinchuriki. While I also feel the same way about his true ability, it would be wiser to not attempt it in the event he can actually kill you. I would love to see him try, Kakazu. I'd actually welcome it, forget the leader's warning. It's clear that whoever puts these teams together knows dynamics. That Deidara guy and Sasori guy seem to be opposites, as well as these two. One's a hothead and the other is calm and collected," said Kurama on Naruto's head. "Yeah, he's smart in how many people are in his organization. Having a smaller number of people must make it easier to get stuff done while also minimizing failures. I wonder who this leader is that they speak of," said Naruto in return to his bijou as he placed a hand on the ground. "Don't move, Yugi-chan." "Shit. Haiden, run," said Kakazu, taking off down the sewer as a pink substance began to cover the floor. "Kuchios, Gamaguchi Shirbari, summoning, toad mouth bind," thought Naruto, summoning the esophagus of a fire-breathing toad from empty Mayaboku. Haiden and Kakazu continued to sprint down the sewer as the pink flesh continued to spread out all around them. "What is this, Naruto-kun?" questioned Yugito as she had never seen anything like it before. "It won't catch them at the speed they are moving at. We'll have to go and hunt them down," said Naruto before answering Yugito. "And it's a summoning technique that brings forth the esophagus of a toad from Mount Mayaboku. Anyway, we have to catch them." Naruto then took off in a sprint to chase down the Akatsuki members. "Okay, we still don't know what the other guy can do, so we need to be careful," said Yugito following after Naruto. After running for several minutes, Naruto realized that the Akatsuki members were long gone. How did they disappear so fast? That couldn't have been 2 minutes since they left, and there's no way they could run that fast to get away from us, said Yugito, noticing no trace of the Akatsuki members anywhere. "I know. I was picking them up a second ago with my sensing ability and then poof, they disappeared," said Naruto, wondering the same thing. "It's like they were summoned or something." A few minutes later, Yugito decided to end Naruto's search. "It's over, Naruto-kun. They came and then they ran. I'm not hurt, nor did they get to me. There's no need in trying to find them. As you said, they were summoned, so there's nothing your sensing ability could do to find them, said Yugito. Plus this gives us the chance to start our time together. Naruto's sage mode began to fade as he smiled at Yugito's words. Yes, piggyback ride? Questioned Naruto before feeling the weight of his girlfriend land on his back and her head lay across his shoulder with her eyes closed. I'll take that as a yes. Sweet dreams, Yugi-chan. Halfway to Kumo, Naruto felt a finger poke his cheek. Turning his head in the direction of the poke, Naruto received a kiss on the lips from a now awake Yugito. What was that for? Questioned Naruto as Yugito smiled. You told me you loved me first, said Yugito with a small smirk on her face. Naruto's eyes widened in realization as Yugito's smirk seemed to widen with them. "No!" shouted Naruto as he continued to carry the beautiful Jinchuriki to Kumogakure. In a large tree several miles from Kumogakure, he tried to get us killed by attempting to face down the Jinchuriki, said Kakazu to the leader of the Akatsuki spectral image. I did allow him to face the Nibi Jinchuriki alone when we may have been able to capture her faster, but even still, with the Kyubi Jinchuriki so close to her, it'll be difficult to get her and even more difficult to keep him from ruining the extraction of her bijou. I'd suggest taking the tailed beasts 3 to 8 before attempting to grab her. Kakazu, what the hell? How are you just going to dash? Started Haiden before being silenced by the authoritative voice of their leader. Quiet down, Haiden. You made the right decision, Kakazu. Luckily, I gave you each a rod that allowed me to summon you out of the area. If not, you may have had to go against that boy, said Akatsuki's leader. We will also follow your suggestion of taking the Nibi last with the Kyubi. Conan and I will handle those two, you two worry about capturing the Gobi at this point. Dismissed. Once the two members of the Akatsuki were gone, a swirl appeared next to the leader. Out of that swirl, a figure came stepping out. That boy is becoming a nuisance. But I knew this would happen considering his relationship with the Jinchuriki, said the figure as the leader nodded his head. Is that power you said you'd have for me ready yet? I'd like to get him out of the way now, said the leader before the figure shook his head. Almost. I'm working out all the details now, but if this works, I believe you'll enjoy 7 pairs of eyes on the battlefield rather than 6, said the figure before the leader widened his eyes in shock. In due time. In due time. On the road back to the Kumo were 2 figures walking. Actually, only one of the 2 was walking. The other was being carried piggyback style by the former. Yugito sat comfortably on Naruto's back as they traveled slowly back to her home village. 2 of the most powerful ninjas in the world at the moment, yet they were posed with an interesting predicament, brought on by a few choice words. We need to talk, said Naruto in a serious tone with an equally serious face. Yugito's laughter died down from a previous joke at the seriousness. I thought we were talking, questioned Yugito curiously as Naruto's stone face never changed. That's not what I mean. What I meant was that something just doesn't feel right. Right about us, said Naruto as Yugito began to worry slightly. Is this what I think it is? Did I do something wrong? Questioned Yugito internally. He just told me he loved me. Kitten, before he can do it, just ravish him immediately. That'll get him out of this mood he's in, said Yugito's partner, Matatabi. Yugito was too into the conversation with Naruto to even acknowledge her partner's indecent suggestion. What's going on with Naruto-kun? Naruto blew out a sigh before answering. We've been dating for over 16 months and, you've never once, made me a sandwich. A few seconds passed by before Yugito decided to answer. I'm going to make that sandwich and then choke you with it for scaring me like that, said Yugito with a small pout as Naruto began to laugh. That's so not funny. Naruto stifled down his laughter. I'm sorry Yugi-chan, it was terrible. But we're almost at the gate, said Naruto as Yugito nodded her head. I know. I know. But don't worry, I'll get you back for that later, said Yugito as Naruto let the pretty Jinchuriki down off of his back. Are you going to make it okay? Of course I am. When have I not? This will be too easy, said Naruto with a grin before feeling a massive presence approaching Yugito and himself at a rapid pace. Too fast for him to hide. Or maybe not. Not a second later, a large figure came crashing down in front of Naruto and Yugito clad in a cloak of lightning. Standing in that cloak of lightning with a golden belt on and Kage attire was Kumogakure's Yondaime Raikage. And he wasn't looking too pleased. Are Raikage-sama? Stammered out Yugito in surprise. Save it Yugito, said I as several other Kumogakure ninjas landed behind the hulking Kage. Are you hurt? And what is he doing here? Does he know this is Kumo territory, correct? As Yugito was explaining herself to her Kage, Naruto stood looking at the several shinobi behind the hulking Kage. That's Darui, Shi, Samui, Karui, and Omoi. 3 Jonins and 2 Chunins. Combined with a Kage, I wonder what they're here for. Can't be me, I just got here. Thought Naruto before being cut out of his thoughts by an angry shout. I'm going to kill that Akatsuki bastard, shouted the redhead with golden eyes, Karui, as she took the sword off her back and charged head-on at Naruto. She let down an overhead slash as Naruto backpedaled to dodge. Karui wasn't done there as she continued her assault on Naruto. Karui, stop. He's not in the Akatsuki. Don't you recognize him? That's the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, said Omoi trying to stop his teammate. He's a dangerous S-rank ninja in the bingo book. I know Raikage-sama is here, but even still, he's the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, a beast stronger than the Hachibi, 8 tails. What if Naruto gets angry about Karui attacking him and lets loose fully? Half of Kumo could be destroyed. Or worse, Raikage-sama could get into a scrap with him and... Continued Omoi thinking as Samui blew out a sigh of relief at just seeing Naruto. Man, it seems we came out here for nothing. I guess that Akatsuki thing was false, said Darui as he looked at Yugito, who finished talking to I. Or was it Yugito? Were they really here? Yeah, the Akatsuki came. There were only 2 of them. The travel in pairs thing is true, it seems. The last 2 I met were in pairs, Deidara and Sasori. This time it was a guy named Haiden and another named Kakazu. I only got to face Haiden due to the other not wanting to attack. I was handling myself well, I even landed several killing blows, but he just wouldn't die. He's apparently immortal. But before I could continue and actually find out, Naruto-kun appeared and they ran off scared of him, saying something like their leader doesn't want them facing him, ever, said Yugito as I nodded his head while also letting his cloak disappear. That's good. We received word that mission was a trap set up by them and we were on our way to save you, said I before looking out at Karui still attempting to cut Naruto into 2. I'm guessing I have him to thank. Even though he shouldn't be here at the moment. Why is Yugito-san here? Some type of scroll to deliver? I didn't know Konoha was sending another, said she was Yugito, blushed a little. Samui picked up on Shi's obliviousness to Yugito and Naruto and decided to elaborate for her friend. He's here to see his girlfriend, said Samui in a stoic voice as she, Darui, and Omoi widened their eyes. I'll kill you. How dare you try to dash, started Karui as she tried to slice into Naruto, only stopping halfway when she heard Samui's monotone voice. You're Yugito's boyfriend? The one she dreams about and says weird things to in her sleep? Yugito's, Foxy-kun. Naruto stopped backpedaling as he began to rub a hand awkwardly against the back of his neck. Yes, I do believe I'm that guy. But Foxy-kun, huh? Asked Naruto looking at Yugito with a smile as her face turned red from embarrassment. Naruto's smile faltered a little when he felt the killing intent directed at him again as soon as Karui's killing intent left. I'll kill you, shouted she as he lunged at Naruto after running through several hand seals. Raijin Reikachu, lightning illusion flash of lightning pillar. A flashbang appeared to go off behind she as Naruto was met with a blinding light. Naruto channeled some chakra immediately to break the illusion as his chakra burst cracked the ground around him. Once out of the illusion, Naruto noticed she came back into focus sprinting at him. "Die!" shouted she as he was met with Naruto holding his hands in the tiger seal. As she closed in on Naruto, an eerie darkness began to shroud the surrounding land and his vision. A few feet before he reached Naruto, she could see nothing but darkness. This must be a Genjutsu. While she attempted to break the Genjutsu with no success, I walked over to Naruto. "Thank you, Naruto. Kumo owes you a great debt. Had it not been for your intervention, Yugito could have been the next victim besides the Ichibi of Suna," said I before stretching out a fist at Naruto. Naruto nodded his head while also extending his fist to the Kage. Their fists taped together as they looked at each other for a little while before I grinned slightly. "But you are on Kumo territory without permission," said I as Naruto's face became a little more serious at the unexpected comment. "Since I came out here expecting to face down an S-rank opponent and you're the only one I see, it would only be justice if you and I faced each other in a spar." Naruto's face perked up at the word spar. "Why would a Kage want to spar with a Jonin?" questioned Naruto as I laughed slightly. "You're far too humble. I've heard you're the next Hokage to be anyway, and I'm far too intrigued by your skills to let you get out of this. Yugito's been telling me all about you and I want to see it for myself." "Right now," said I as he took off his Kage robe and tossed it back to Darui, who snagged it out of midair while keeping the same lazy expression on his face. Karui was standing beside Yugito as she blew out a snort. "Is this really necessary, Raikage-sama? We already know who will win. Naruto's probably not even fast enough to hang with you," said Karui as Naruto vanished in a shunshin to appear beside Yugito. "Yugi-chan," said Naruto, scaring Karui with his sudden appearance. Yugito looked up to Naruto before seeing the smile on his face. Naruto turned back to I, "How about a wager?" I's face perked up. "A wager? Why not? What are the stakes?" said I, stretching it out a little bit before the spar. "I impress you and or win the spar, Yugito comes back with me to Konoha," said Naruto as I looked thoughtful for a second. "If I cannot accomplish that, I will stay here and become a Kumo resident instead. It's actually allowed due to the terms of our agreement." The surrounding Kumo ninjas along with Yugito's eyes widened at that wager. "We'd be gaining a valuable asset if Raikage-sama takes this bet and wins. He could just knock the kid out immediately with a full-powered cloak and that'd be the end of it." But then again, Raikage-sama didn't seem surprised when Samui announced Naruto was Yugito's boyfriend, so he might actually allow Yugito to go off with her lover. "This will be dull. I could be doing better things with my time," thought Darui as he looked uninterested at the proceedings. Anyone close to Darui could see the underlying intrigue because he too wanted to see Naruto's abilities firsthand. "Can someone please get me out of this Genjutsu? I want to see Raikage-sama kick the leaf trash's ass," said she, who was still trapped in Naruto's Genjutsu. Even though he couldn't see, he could definitely hear and was hoping that he'd be able to see the spar. "Wow, Naruto-kun. That's crazy. You know for a fact that you wouldn't win against Raikage-sama. And even if you could, you wouldn't because it'd cause an unnecessary power struggle between villages. Same as your fight with Gaara," thought Yugito before turning to her Kage. "And I'm sure Raikage-sama knows that and is already impressed with Naruto-kun. This is just really a spar in actuality, Naruto's already won the bet. This'll mean that we'll be together more often. And you know what that means. That means that 24/7/365, he'll be able to give it to you all the time with that huge dash," started Nibi before being cut off by her now flustered and red-faced Jinchuriki. I chuckled before nodding his head. "You have yourself a deal. But of course, no killing or maiming blows. And the victor of the spar is given to the one who can either knock the other person unconscious or when someone gives up," said I as Naruto nodded his head. "Well, let's get to it, shall we?" "I got all day," said Naruto, taking off his flak jacket and the black shirt he had on underneath, leaving him shirtless. Karui blushed immediately at the chiseled upper body of Naruto's along with Samui, though her blush was less noticeable than Karui's. The orange fox that adorned Naruto's right arm seemed to glow slightly as Naruto let his chakra flare along with ice. "Ready when you are, Raikage Dano," said Naruto, getting into a fighting stance. "Darui, start the spar," said I. Darui landed in between both of the shinobi as the other surrounding ninjas all backed up to a safe enough distance. Darui raised his hand before looking at both of the two to check if they were ready. Seeing them both nod their heads, Darui let his hand fall. "Hajime," said Darui after jumping out of the way as a shock wave occurred from Naruto and I meeting in a clash. Ice Fist was blocking Naruto's kick while Naruto used both hands to block Ice Punch. The two then began a fast exchange of taijutsu. "Spectators. I can barely see their movements," said Karui with raised eyebrows. "To think that Naruto guy's taijutsu is that good to match Raikage-sama's. It's crazy." "True, he's good. But Raikage-sama doesn't seem like he's going all out on him, nor has he activated his lightning cloak. Once he does that, it'll be over since Naruto won't be able to handle his speed," said Omoi, getting a nod from his red-haired teammate. "Yeah, that's true. Raikage-sama is the fastest man alive. But then again, Naruto has his own way of dealing with faster opponents," thought Yugito as she continued to watch the two exchange blows. "Finally. I can see again," said she, finally being released from the Genjutsu due to Naruto's involvement with I at the moment. She then leaped over beside Yugito as his eyes were glued to the fight. "Yugito-chan, how could you date one of those leaf dogs?" Yugito never answered she because Samui decided to for her. "You'll have to get over it. Yugito's head over heels for that guy, and besides, your 12-year crush on her needs to stop. It hasn't happened since then and it probably won't happen now due to the Senju boy." Darui's lazy expression faltered a little as he perked up. You mean to tell me that when you were 12, you had a crush on an 8-year-old, said Darui as she put up placating hands. "It's not like that," said she as the rest of the group looked at him as if he was a weirdo. She then heard a muffled cough from Karui that eerily sounded like pedophile. "Let's just keep watching the fight. I and Naruto." The taijutsu battle continued as I lashed out with an elbow, which Naruto ducked before rising back up with an uppercut. I moved his head slightly to dodge the fist before feeling Naruto's hand come down around the back of his neck. I felt Naruto began to tug down on him to grapple him and likely sling him away. He's pretty good. Definitely fast and his taijutsu is flawless, but he's not strong enough, thought I as he stood up at full height, lifting Naruto off the ground with ease due to his hand still being on the back of his neck. I then sent a fist into Naruto's gut, which while blocked with Naruto's other hand, still sent him several feet away. Naruto landed on his feet, skidding slightly from Ice Punch. "You'll have to be stronger than that if you want to try and toss me," said I before seeing Naruto's grin. A sizzling noise began to ring in Ice's ear as he finally realized what was going on. He placed an explosive note on me. How clever. Boom. The note exploded with tremendous force as debris and smoke clouded I from the rest of the people. "Spectators. Did he just blow up Raikage-sama?" questioned Omoi with worry. "Oh no. Now that he's blown up Raikage-sama, now we'll have to go to war with Konoha over this. And war means that eventually someone will be conquered. What if we lose and Konoha conquers us? Then I'd have to be a slave and work in the field for the rest of my life. He didn't get him. It was close, but Raikage-sama's fine," said Darui as the smoke cleared. "But it seems Raikage-sama is going to get serious with Naruto. He could have been killed had he not activated his jutsu. Finally, Naruto can't compete with Raikage-sama's speed," said Karui smugly as she and the rest watched the spar continue, though Omoi continued to run down a series of unfortunate events that could happen in his head. I and Naruto. That was a close one. If it wasn't for this cloak of mine, I may have actually been killed due to that. I let his lightning cloak spark even stronger as his hair stood up slightly in the back. Well then. Let's see how you deal with this. I sparked across the battlefield in the blink of an eye with a fist outstretched at Naruto. I was surprised however when Naruto's head was shifted slightly to the left to dodge the huge fist. What? Questioned I before noticing Naruto's new appearance. There was an orange chakra shroud surrounding Naruto that was identical to ice, although his cloak was fierier than the Kage's lightning cloak. Naruto's eyes also changed into a bright orange while a black seal appeared over his chest and stomach. You're definitely Namake's son. To be able to dodge my punch, he was the only one who could. Shall we continue? Questioned Naruto before lashing out with a fast kick at the hulking Kage. I dodged the kick before the two began a sequence of faster-paced taijutsu that were no more than blurs to the others viewing the spar, seemingly just shock waves of orange and blue. On a path back to Konoha. Hey, Sakura. Is boss coming back before we make it to Konoha? Questioned Konohamaru as he and Sakura were still walking to Konoha from their mission. They were still being followed by the sedated Kabuto on the back of Sakura's slug. And by your reaction earlier. I'm guessing he's done it before? Sakura let out an exasperated breath before answering, I should have known. Especially considering how close we were to Kyomogakure. He was bound to leave and I wouldn't have been able to stop him anyway. But yeah, he'll be back before we make it to Konoha. He usually is, said Sakura as she continued to steadily walk in the presence of the youthful Konohamaru. Why Kyomo? Is there something there for him? Asked Konohamaru eagerly as Sakura let out another sigh. I said earlier that his clone took his place so he could see Yugito. Yugito is Naruto's girlfriend. She happens to live in Kyomo, and Naruto always goes to see her when he gets the chance. Of course, off the record and during missions most times. It's not smart either. What if something happens to us? Questioned Sakura as Konohamaru pointed a finger to his chest. I'll protect us. Don't worry, anything that happens I'll be able to handle it, said Konohamaru before Sakura said something that made his heart rise before sinking back into his chest immediately. You remember that toad Naruto sent out earlier? It was a report on how you handled yourself. You did well enough to earn his recommendation, said Sakura before bursting Konohamaru's bubble. But since you're still an umbu in training and you took off your mask, that gets you sent to Hibi-sensei for your 2-month training regimen. Actually, you had several infractions and even one gets you sent to her, so good luck with that, said Sakura as Konohamaru deflated immediately. Naruto told him how terrible his training was because he received Hibi as his sensei and to think he'd now have to go. That should keep him quiet for the rest of the trip. Sheesh. He would never stop talking or asking questions, thought Sakura as Konohamaru placed his mask back on his face and was now internally sulking at the thought of having to go through what Naruto went through. I just hope Naruto gets back before we make it to Konoha. Tsunade Shursho will definitely be angry if he doesn't show up again. He'd better have a good excuse this time since we're only a day out. Kyomo. 20 minutes passed by as Naruto and I continued to clash in a bout of taijutsu. Naruto threw out a punch that was caught at the wrist by I before he slung Naruto across the battlefield. Naruto rolled with the throw and stood up to face down the Kage. You won't beat me in a taijutsu fight. If that's all you got then welcome to Kyomo, said I before he noticed a series of black markings began to spread out over his body. I immediately lost control over his chakra, losing his cloak, as his body became heavy and he slunk to the ground. What is this? It's Fuinjutsu. You didn't think I was just touching you to touch you, did you? Questioned Naruto as realization began to dawn on I from him touching his neck when he placed on that explosive tag, all the palm open blocks and when he flipped him over his head just now. Naruto placed his hands in the snake seal. Mokuton, Jukai Koten, wood style, nativity of a sea of trees, said Naruto as trees began to spring up everywhere around him. Gargantuan trees were being brought forth out of the ground at a rapid pace toward the immobilized Kage. The trees smashed into the Kage as they planted him firmly into the ground with tremendous force. Naruto looked out at the downed Kage before smiling. He's good. I wonder how long I'd been fighting a clone. Probably in that explosion from the earlier explosive note, thought Naruto, seeing the Kage disperse into lightning, signifying a clone. Pfft, what did you expect? All of these Kages are good, if not then they wouldn't deserve the title of Kage, said Kurama on Naruto's head. Well, you do realize that one day I may become Hokage, does that mean that I'll be good? Replied Naruto in his head. Naruto heard a loud snort in return from Kurama. Ha, the only hard part about beating you would be trying to get your mashed up body off the soles of my paws. Naruto internally laughed. That was actually good. I'd have a rebuttal, but I have a Kage taking up all my concentration, thought Naruto back as he turned to the left to see I nodding his head in the distance. Nice skills, but you should really notice when you're battling a clone. Naruto laughed, remembering he told Konohamaru the same when they were battling Orochimaru. I then brought his hands up in the ram's seal. I let off a massive burst of lightning that looked more like an expanding bomb detonating around him. The lightning bomb began to tear up the surrounding landscape and trees created by Naruto as it pushed its way toward the young Kyuubi Jinchuriki. That's impressive, said Naruto before biting his thumb and slamming it into the ground. Kuchios, Yonju Rashomon, summoning, quadruple Rashomon, thought Naruto as a series of 4 gigantic demonic gates sprung from the ground in front of him. The Raikage jutsu hit the first gate as it mauled its way through it before being stopped by the second of the gigantic gates. Orochimaru must suck at making these gates because he used 3 and Kurama mauled straight through them. The Raikage jutsu looked powerful as hell, stronger than Kurama's, and I only needed 2, said Naruto before feeling a massive spike in chakra. Here he comes, and I'm sure he'll be able to take down the remaining 3. I have to time this right. Naruto was correct in his assessment of Ice intent as he noticed his second gate come tumbling down along with his third, and he could see the makings of cracks in his last remaining gate. Naruto ran through 2 hand seals ending on Tiger as he prepared his jutsu. A tiny spark of lightning popped through the gate as Naruto deemed the time was now. I came smashing through the last gate, clad in his lightning cloak, with a fist outstretched. This is my father's Jigakuzuki, Hell Stab. The strongest attack, there's nothing that he can do about this. It's over, thought I before coming to a complete stop, nearly giving him whiplash due to the abrupt halt. What? Questioned I before feeling himself sink into the ground. I looked down and took notice of the thick, murky swamp underneath him. Across from him, equally sinking into the ground, was Naruto. Doton, Yomi Numa, swamp of the underworld, said Naruto as I looked up at the smiling kid in front of him. Worked like a charm. I looked out at the confident boy in front of him, who disappeared in a puff of smoke to reveal the same boy standing just on the end of the swamp with his hands in the snake seal. Mokuton, Hote no Jutsu, wood style, laughing Buddha technique, said Naruto as from underneath the swamp, an enormous hand appeared ready to smash the Kage further into the swamp. I grinned at the competition being provided by the young golden-haired Konoha ninja. I haven't had this much fun with an opponent since Namikaze. You are indeed impressive, thought I as he powered up his lightning cloak to 100%. Once fully charged up, I burst out of the swamp with ease, avoiding the open palm smash of the wooden hand created by Naruto. I stood menacingly opposing Naruto. It's been fun, Naruto, but I'm afraid this spar has to come to a close. You'll have my answer when you wake up whether you won the wager or not. Until that time, Namikaze, said I, now behind Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened before closing due to the chop to the neck from I, who had to be careful not to damage Naruto due to the velocity of the chop. The last thing Naruto saw was Yugito's smiling face before succumbing to unconsciousness. One day later, just outside of Konoha, Sakura and Konohamaru had stopped in a clearing for the night before heading out again to get to Konoha by the end of the day. Kabuto was still tied up to the back of Sakura's slug and still being continuously sedated by the slug summon to keep him from moving. "Sakura-san," came the voice of Saru behind his mask as he walked next to Sakura and her slug. "It seems Naruto-senpai is still not here and we are all but just in Konoha. What should we do?" Sakura was prepared to answer before an enormous smoke cloud appeared in the path in front of them. Konohamaru immediately went on the defensive by positioning himself in between the cloud and Sakura while Sakura did nothing but continue to walk forward without a change in pace. "I got this. I got this. Whoever it is. Calm yourself, Konohamaru. You were beating Orochimaru for Kami's sake. Granted, boss was there helping, but you still did most of the work. You can do this," thought Saru as, from the smoke cloud, a massive amount of confetti came shooting out of it, along with fireworks and streamers. What? Stammered Saru, surprised by the display of an enormous toad holding a thumbs up at him. On top of that toad were two figures, one holding a crazy pose with a thumbs up identical to the toad while the other had a hand covering her face in complete shame at what appeared to be over the other figure. From a land filled with leaves. He's the fox with 1,000 skills. The sage with mastery over vegetation. And the Jinchuriki with the prettiest cat for a lover. He's Naruto of Konoha, shouted Naruto with a smile as he was now in the nice guy pose, teeth sparkle and all. "Oh, we nailed it this time, Kichi." Gamakichi, the toad Naruto was standing on, was also in the nice guy pose now as his poses changed identical to Naruto's as he went on his spiel. Gamakichi's own sparkle shines bright as he grinned in agreement with Naruto. "Damn right, bro. All those hours of practicing finally paid off. Well, it's been fun getting you back here on time. Until next time. Bye, Yugito-chan. You should come by Mt. Mayaboku sometime. Ma and Pa really want to meet you," said Gamakichi before disappearing in a puff of smoke, allowing Yugito and Naruto to land on the ground in front of Saru and Sakura. "Boss! That was awesome," came the uncharacteristic of an umbu shout by Saru at the display he just witnessed, completely forgetting that he was going to go off on Naruto for ratting him out about his infractions and getting him sent to Hibi for training. Naruto had a cheesy grin on as he sat and ate compliment after compliment from his most loyal fan. While this was going on, Sakura just continued to walk and eventually was joined by Yugito, who still had a hand covering her face. "Hey Yugito-san," said Sakura with a slight smile as Yugito lowered her hand to smile back. "Hey, Sakura. Please tell me Naruto-kun doesn't introduce himself like that every time," questioned Yugito. Sakura nodded her head and Yugito brought her hand back up to her face. "That's so embarrassing. I can't imagine how you feel having to go through that. I've only seen it once and it was too much for me." Sakura and Yugito continued to walk before Sakura decided to pose a question. "Hey, Yugito-san. Not to be rude or anything, but why are you here with Naruto in the first place? Did you have a scroll to deliver?" asked Sakura as Yugito lowered her hand to reach into the ninja pouch behind her. She then pulled out a scroll from her pouch and handed it to Sakura. Sakura looked hesitant to open it, but the nod from Yugito encouraged her to read its contents. Sakura unraveled the scroll and opened it before reading its contents. Once finished, she looked back at the smiling Yugito. "You're moving to Konoha?" shouted Sakura with surprise as Yugito nodded her head jovially. "How did this happen?" Well, Naruto got into a spar with Raikage-sama and they had a little wager," said Yugito as she began to retell the events that occurred since Naruto disappeared to go and see her. Flashback, 1 day ago. Naruto awoke 30 minutes later in unfamiliar territory. Well, it is not really as unfamiliar as it should be. Yugito's bed, so that would mean that I'm in Yugito's home, which is inside of Yugito's village, which is Kumogakure, thought Naruto as he sat up in Yugito's bed and rubbed the back of his neck. Raikage Dano can hit hard. Boss owes me for this, said Naruto as Yugito was entering the room, fondling her boobs. I don't owe you anything at all. You're a clone. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're made of my chakra in the first place, so get over it, said Yugito as she dispelled the Naruto clone. You know what, Yugito? I swear your boobs have gotten bigger since the last time I saw you. Don't you agree? Inside of Yugito's head, Naruto stood opposing her and Matatabi as she was helplessly watching Naruto make her fondle herself due to his control over her. This jutsu is an ingenious Naruto-kun. And the way you use it is incredible. What is it called again? Came the voice of Yugito's bijou, Matatabi. Oh, this jutsu. It's Gamadera, Kageatsuri no Jutsu, Toad Flatness, Shadow Manipulation Technique, said Naruto back to the towering being of pure chakra. Though I will be losing control here pretty soon since I can't hold my breath for much longer. After saying that, Naruto was firmly ejected from Yugito's mind and Yugito was given back control once again of her body. She turned her head back to see her shadow coming out of the ground. Except it began to turn into Naruto. I really dislike that jutsu, said Yugito as she shook out her body to get the chills out of it from being controlled like that. Well, I couldn't just lose to your Kage now, could I? But then again, I really couldn't win either, so I went with the next best option and just used a wood clone. He never even noticed, and if he did, he didn't care enough to acknowledge it. Plus it's even better, I got what I wanted, said Naruto with a smile at the end. Yugito smiled back. And what was that? Questioned Yugito back as Naruto continued to inch forward toward her. Well, started Naruto as he closed in on Yugito's lips. Oh, shouted a clone of Naruto's in the doorway, ending Yugito and Naruto's moment. How come you get to get all the love while we have to do all the packing and stuff? Naruto grew a tick mark on the back of his head at his clone as he turned around. Why are you guys getting so angry and rebellious against me lately? I mean, it's crazy, I'm your creator, said Naruto as his clone dropped the pair of scrolls he held that contained some of Yugito's belongings. I apologize to my boss. I'm just sad that you gave Naruto 1C lingerie duty, said the clone as they turned to see a clone buried in a pile of Yugito's skimpy attire, frolicking about in the pile of sexy undergarments. I see. Don't worry. I'll handle this, said Naruto as he walked over to the pile with the clone in it. All Narutos take a break and join the party. One item per clone only. I, being the boss and original, get the rest. The Narutos all nodded their heads at the plan as they moved to grab their own. While this was occurring, Yugito stood with an even bigger tick mark on her head as she watched some of Naruto's fight over a pair of panties. While I am quite the pervert, I do agree with you, please end this, said Matatabi in Yugito's head as Yugito happily obliged. Yugito's nails extended before she unleashed righteous fury upon all of the whiskered blondes before making the original Naruto finish up her packing, no clones allowed this time. End flashback. And after that, Naruto-kun and I made haste to come here. He summoned his toad and we got here in one day, said Yugito. Sakura nodded her head. Wow, that's bold of Naruto. And crazy of your Kage to just allow that. For him to be so willing to give up a Jinchuriki like that is amazing of him. He must really care about your happiness to allow you to just leave with Naruto like that. True, he has been like a father to me, so I'm guessing he was really just looking out for me, said Yugito before she put the scroll back in her ninja pouch. But then again, this will also cement our alliance and will be more of friends than before. There could be true peace between our villages and Naruto probably knew that. Of course I did, sweetheart, said an excited Naruto behind Yugito before picking up her bridal style. Welcome to Konoha, Yugi-chan. Naruto planted a juicy kiss on Yugito. Pausing for a moment after the kiss, Yugito smiled and gave Naruto a nod. That was perfect. Naruto nodded his head in agreement before they disappeared in a shunshin, leaving Saru and Sakura at the gate. Was that Naruto and his girlfriend? Questioned one of the gate guards. Yes, it was. I'm not sure where they disappeared to, but they better be in Tsunade's office by the time we get there, said Sakura as she handed her mission scroll to the man. The guard nodded his head before handing the scroll back to Sakura. Well, I'll see you later, Sakura-san, and Saru. Good luck. Sakura nodded and began to walk away. The gate guard then took notice of the slug trailing behind the medic. Wait, is that Kabuto on the back of that slug? He only received light snores as an answer due to his partner being knocked out asleep. Lazy ass. He should be more proud of what we're doing. We guard Konoha and are its first line of defense. Besides the Umbu and Border Patrol. And our sensory squad. But the fourth line is still important, thought the gate guard in his head before sitting down. Well, actually Naruto just absolutely bypassed the gate without me being able to do anything to stop him. I'll have to work harder and make sure that doesn't happen again. I can't let that youngster disrespect me. I've been a ninja longer than he has. But he is a jonin and I heard he was an Umbu captain. But still, he needs to respect me. Don't need another Jiraiya walking around here. 15 minutes later, Hokage's office. Come in, came the voice of Tsunade as she heard a knock on her door. Tsunade looked up to see her student and Saru entered her office and smiled at their presence. Wait, where's Naruto? He didn't leave you all again, did he? Sakura was about to answer before a strong breeze flew through the office. The cause of the breeze made his presence known immediately. What bh on? Why would I do that? Questioned Naruto as he now stood in Tsunade's office via Shunshin. Naruto, you have to stop leaving your teammates like that. What if they get ambushed while you're away? You could have taken them with you. Well, if I was away, which I'm not saying that I was, Saru could handle it well enough. Plus, why do you keep insinuating that I left them? Asked Naruto as Tsunade blew out a sigh. Hi, Yugito-chan. From behind Naruto, Yugito peered out at the busty Kage. Hi Tsunade-dano, nice to meet you again, said Yugito as Tsunade smiled at the pretty blonde Jinchuriki. That doesn't prove anything. She could have just come of her own free will, said Naruto before Tsunade noticed something off about the two of them. Naruto, why is there a claw mark ripped through the middle of your shirt? You're also missing a shoe while Yugito's hair and ponytail are all messed up, plus she doesn't even have pants on, said Tsunade as the two of them grew red in the face. Couldn't wait? I mean, it couldn't have been more than 15 minutes since you've gotten here. You know what, never mind, just give me the rundown of the mission. Naruto stood at attention after coughing. Team Naruto reporting back from their A-ranked mission to Tenchi Bridge. Mission status, success. At the bridge, I transformed myself into Sasori to meet with the spy. The spy approached me on the bridge and I proceeded to receive intel about Orochimaru's bases and on A-ranked nuke Nin, Sasuke Uchiha. However, before I could get any more, Orochimaru appeared and that's when the tables turned. It turns out that Sasori's spy was Kabuto Yakushi and he was on Orochimaru's side from the beginning. So we really cannot take any of his information seriously due to him attacking me in the first place. A battle ensued afterward with us dispatching Kabuto relatively easily and defeating Orochimaru afterward. Tsunade nodded her head before she posed another question. I'm guessing Sakura, you took Kabuto to the torture and interrogation department? Seeing Sakura nod, Tsunade posed another question. You defeated Orochimaru, does that mean that he is dead, or did he get away? Of course he's dead. Naruto blew his head off with a Rasengan, thought Saru in his head. Despite the condition he was in as we left, I'm certain that Orochimaru lived, said Naruto as he let a hand comb through his hair. As he did that, he made a series of quick hand seals to Tsunade that were unnoticed by the rest of the group. Tsunade nodded her head at Naruto. Well, good job team. Despite not making sure Orochimaru was incapacitated, at least you got his right-hand man. I'm calling this mission a success. Saru and Sakura, you're dismissed, said Tsunade as Sakura and Saru both left the office, leaving Yugito and Naruto alone with Tsunade. It seems your other mission was a success as well, said Tsunade with a smile at Yugito. Naruto was smiling as well as Yugito looked at the two confused. You had another mission? Questioned Yugito as Naruto nodded. Yes ma'am. It was to pick up a package, said Naruto as he pulled out a scroll from his ninja pouch that was still attached to his hip even after his earlier escapade with Yugito. Yugito opened the scroll and read its contents. Wow, was my coming to Konoha already planned? Tsunade nodded her head, still smiling. Raikage Dano and I have already been discussing this. And this is the result. Welcome to Konoha. That's amazing, said Yugito before she realized something. She then turned to Naruto who was creeping slowly out of the room. You weren't spontaneous at all. Naruto laughed sheepishly before performing a shunshin next to Tsunade. Sorry Ba-chan, I got to go. I'll give you my written report later, said Naruto, giving Tsunade a cheek kiss before disappearing in another shunshin. Get back here, shouted Yugito as she went flying out of the window after the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. It seems things are going to get livelier around here, said Tsunade with a smile. Yugito's still only wearing panties. Well, at least the men of the village will be excited at her introduction. Somewhere in the land of grass. A small candle was illuminating a dark room as a figure could be seen seated at a throne. A series of coughs rang out before a laugh followed shortly afterward. It's time. 1 week and Sasuke will be mine. Kukukuku, said the figure as his golden, slitted eyes opened up. Sasuke was seated with his legs crossed and his eyes closed in the middle of a room far away from the snake Sannin. Sasuke opened his eyes to reveal his Mangekyo Sharingan. So it seems it's time. Naruto, you better be here. I need you for what I plan to accomplish. I'm sure you'll bring Sakura with you along with those other ones. Not to mention, I'm sure she'll be here, said Sasuke before standing up and walking out of the room to prepare for the week at hand. Hidden location. The Yonbi, Four Tails, has been successfully captured, said the spectral image of the leader of the Akatsuki. Kakazu and Haiden will go after the Gobi in a week. We will reconvene then for the sealing of the 5 tails. Dismissed. The other members of the Akatsuki departed the chamber. After they were all gone, a vortex opened up beside the leader. Is it time? Questioned the leader. The figure nodded his head. Shall we be going? It'll take you a week to recover from this surgery and we only have a week before the Gobi gets sealed, said the figure as he then vanished into another swirl. The leader's rippled purple eyes seemed to shine brightly in the darkness before a small smile graced his face. This will definitely help. Your time will come soon, Kyubi, said the leader as his own spectral image vanished into the darkness, leaving only the dead body of the Yonbi's Jinchuriki in the room. It had been 4 days since Naruto's arrival back in Konoha with Yugito. Life in Konoha did not change since Yugito's arrival, or did she get treated weirdly by any of the Konoha populace. Even with her Kumo background, it seemed Naruto's reputation superseded any bad stigma that attached itself to her. Even in the all-seeing eyes of the Hyuga clan. Being well-received and famous had its perks. Being in a relationship had its perks as well, and Naruto took advantage of it every day since Yugito's arrival. Even right now, as Yugito was getting dressed in Naruto's room, she was putting the finishing touches on her outfit when she noticed Naruto coming into the room. Naruto-kun, are you ready to go to the gate? Asked Yugito, turning around to see Naruto. Naruto-kun, we can't do that right now, we'll be late. Naruto stood in the doorway of his bedroom, dressed in only a helmet and a shield with nothing else on. To the gate? Said Naruto before it dawned on him. Oh yeah. That's today, huh? Well, shoot. I worked hard on this outfit. I got the helmet, shield, and obviously a sword, said Yugito suggestively while wrapping a hand around Naruto's sword. I think we have a few minutes to spare. At the village gate, 10 minutes later. Where the hell is Naruto? Questioned Tsunade as she stood impatiently at the gate. Lounging on the outer gate walls, reading his orange book, was Kakashi. Kakashi was actually on time today due to Tsunade telling him to be at the gate 4 hours earlier, prompting him to arrive 5 minutes late even with a 4-hour grace period. "I'm sure he'll be here, Hokage-sama. Don't worry," said Kakashi as he lazily flipped a page in his book. "He's actually coming right now. And just on time too because they're approaching." Naruto and Yugito appeared via a shunshin as they landed next to the bustic Kage and elite Jonin. "Present and accounted for, Bachan," said Naruto, dressed in his standard Konoha attire complete with his flak jacket. Yugito stood next to Naruto in simply a blue, V-neck shirt with black pants and black sandals on. "Good morning, Hokage-dano. It seems we weren't late." "Thankfully," said Yugito with a smile as Tsunade smiled back at the young blonde girl. "Good morning to you too, Yugito-chan and brat. Glad to see you both make it. I was a little worried there," said Tsunade as she looked out toward the path to see several figures approaching Konoha. "Look sharp now, here they come. And Naruto, why do you have a helmet on?" Naruto turned red as he grabbed the helmet off his head and flung it out of sight and out of mind into the bushes. About a minute later, the group that was approaching Konoha finally made contact. Hello. Welcome to Konoha. I am Konoha's Godame Hokage, Senju Tsunade," said Tsunade, extending a hand to who she deemed as the most important in the group that arrived. "Maidano, it's a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance." Mei happily placed a hand out to shake with Tsunade as she smiled at the blonde Hokage in front of her. "The pleasure is all mine, Tsunade-dano. I'm just happy that you extended this alliance offer to us in Kirigakure. And for that, on behalf of Kiri and myself, as its Godame Mizukage, Water Shadow, I thank you." Mei was a beautiful, slender woman. She has green eyes, and ankle-length, auburn hair styled into a herringbone pattern at the back, a top knot tied with a dark blue band, and 4 bangs at the front. She wears a long-sleeved, dark blue dress that falls just below the knees. Underneath, she wears mesh armor that covers slightly more of her upper body than her dress. To complete her outfit she wears high-heeled sandals, dark blue polish on her fingers and toes with matching blue lipstick. "Can you say MILF?" said Naruto, hearing Kurama say MILF in his head at Mei's beauty. "And I believe those are double DS she's sporting, damn it. Jiraiya-sensei's teachings are still in my head," thought Naruto in his head as he looked over Mei in an unnoticeable manner due to Yugito standing right beside him. "Your mate is attractive in her own ways, but that human is downright beautiful. Even I can see this. I'd kill her so hard," said Kurama as Naruto internally nodded his head at the comment. "I hear you on that. I'd kill her so hard too if I wasn't in a relationship. Wait, kill her? Never mind," replied Naruto in his head as he stopped internally talking to see the rest of Mei's contingent begin greeting Tsunade, Kakashi, and Yugito. With Mei were a group of 4 people, 2 of which Naruto recognized immediately upon seeing. The first being one of the legendary 7 swordsmen, Momochi Zabuza. Zabuza still looked the same since when Naruto first met him, except he now had on the standard flak jacket of Kiri with a shirt on underneath. Zabuza still lugged around his Kubikuribocho on his back and his ever-present ninja face was still on and just as menacing as when Naruto first met him. The second person Naruto recognized in the contingent of Mei's was the even more beautiful Haku. Haku was the hunter Nin who accompanied Zabuza on Naruto's first C-rank mission to Wave. Haku grew slightly over the 4 years since seeing Naruto, now standing at a height of 5 foot 5 inches tall. She was wearing her long black hair loosely, and wore a pink, sleeveless kimono, with pale red edges and decorated with small plum-colored swirls, that went to her ankles. Around her waist was a simple white obi tied in a bow, and she wore a pair of light brown sandals with dark straps. She also wore a dark-colored choker around her neck and her Kiri forehead protector could be seen on her right arm, around her bicep. "Damn. Can you say you know what? Never mind. I think you get the point. Haku's hot and without her chest bindings on ICC cups arg. Why was that the first thing Jiraiya-sensei taught me, thought Naruto perversely as he eyed Haku as well, still unnoticeable by those around him. Heh, doesn't it seem weird to you though, questioned Kurama on Naruto's head. After getting a what from his Jinchuriki, Kurama decided to elaborate. All of the most beautiful women in the world seem to be some of the strongest kunoichis in the world as well. I mean, face it, Yugito and Tsunade are powerful, and I'm certain these two are as well. But that girl from the cryptanalysis group, Shiho, is not a dime as you would call it, and definitely one of the weakest kunoichis I've seen. That's cold, Kurama, but that is weird, isn't it? It must be a conspiracy or something, replied Naruto in his head before he was nudged by Yugito, stopping his internal conversation with Kurama. Naruto-kun. Are you not going to shake his hand? Questioned Yugito as Naruto looked over to see the other two members of Kiri's group with their hands extended. Naruto nodded his head before extending a hand out to the two others with Mei. Sorry about that, I was lost in my head in contemplation. I'm Naruto, said Naruto, shaking the first guy's hand. It's no worries. I'm Chojuro, said the now known Chojuro. Chojuro was a ninja of seemingly the same age as Naruto. Chojuro has short, tufty blue hair, and dark eyes. He also has pointed, shark-like teeth. He wears square, black-rimmed glasses connected to ear protectors, a blue pinstriped shirt, and camouflage pattern pants. Also, he wears his forehead protector on the front of his holster, which he uses to carry Hiramakiri. Naruto noticed the shark-like teeth of Chojuro and the sword on his back and perked up at the two traits. You're a member of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist? Questioned Naruto excitedly at that prospect. Chojuro fidgeted slightly at Naruto's question. Well, yes. I am one of the 7 Swordsmen, and this is my blade, Hiramakiri, said Chojuro, though you could tell from just that one sentence that he was a timid individual. Well, that's cool. I'd love to spar with you someday during your stay here, it'd be fun to see what you could do, said Naruto with a smile that Chojuro awkwardly nodded back to and attempted to reciprocate. The man standing next to Chojuro shook his head at the actions that just preceded. Kids these days have no respect for their elders. I mean, back in my day, we used to shake hands with the elder shinobi first before shaking hands with the younger ones, as a sign of respect, said the man before seeing Naruto extend his hand toward him. My apologies, sir, but I do actually recognize you. You're a member of Kiri's Umbu Hunter Nin division and one of the heroes of the war against Yagura. Ao, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pleasure to meet you, said Naruto as Ao looked impressed at the young man before him. My, it seems the younger generation does have a few good ninjas. It's good that you know your history. But then again, information is one of a ninja's best tools, and I'm certain you know that, said Ao as Naruto nodded his head. While Naruto was talking with Chojuro and Ao, Yugito walked over to Haku and began to engage her in conversation. Hi, I'm Ni Yugito, said Yugito as she held a hand out for Haku to shake, which Haku shook in kind. Nice to meet you, Yugito-san, I'm Yuki Haku. I've heard so much about you from Naruto-kun's letters. Yugito arched an eyebrow as Haku put up placating hands. No, it's nothing like that. Naruto was mainly the go-between me and another ninja, but I did ask him about his life and you were at the head of it. He's quite into you. Is he really? Questioned Yugito as Haku reached into the backpack that she held. I have the letters with me. Want me to read what he said? Questioned Haku with a small smirk as Yugito nodded her head jovially. While all this was going on, Mei and Tsunade were busy chatting away with one another, so Zabuza figured he'd go and talk to the only person of the group that he deemed okay. Kakashi, said Zabuza as the silver-haired ninja peered his lone, visible eye at the Kiri ninja. Zabuza, replied Kakashi before smiling at him. Seems you've become quite the shinobi since our last meeting. A visible grin could be seen behind the bandaged part of Zabuza's face. One of Kiri's elite jonin if you want to get technical, and also the leader of the next 7 swordsmen. It's quite the accomplishment, said Zabuza as he looked over at Naruto talking to Chojuro. And it seems that while you haven't seemed to change, that blonde-haired brat has gotten quite famous and tall since the last time we met. Kakashi also panned his eyes over to Naruto. Seems like he has, but it wasn't because of me. That's all him, said Kakashi smiling before looking at Haku. And it seems she's grown up well. Zabuza chuckled slightly. So she has. We've been together now for 15 years and finally, she seems happy. No more running, no more dangerous missions for money. Well, maybe not that last thing. We're shinobi after all, but we have a home in Kiri and it's only getting better. So it seems. Don't tear up on me now, Zabuza. I don't think I have a tissue on me, said Kakashi as he flipped a page in his book. Zabuza looked ready to respond to Kakashi's statement before Tsunade's voice sounded out over everyone, ending all of the conversations. Well, now that we are all acquainted. I'm certain that those from Kiri are tired from their long travels. If you would like, I can get you all set up for your stay this evening, said Tsunade with a smile as all of the surrounding shinobi nodded their heads in agreement. Great, Naruto, if you would be so kind as to show them to their rooms. And we'll begin our talks at 10 a.m. on the day after tomorrow, once my council members return from their meeting with our daimyo. Until then. If those from Kiri would follow me, said Naruto as he led the Kiri contingent through Konoha and into one of its most luxurious hotels. On his way, Naruto spotted a hawk flying through Konoha and landed on Hashirama's head. Naruto couldn't help but smile. Suna. Kyumo. And now Kiri. One village at a time, GG. I'll get that peace you desired, thought Naruto fondly of his grandfather, Hashirama, as he watched the hawk take back off and fly through the air. Naruto's apartment, same time. A small, white snake slithered its way through Naruto's apartment. Attached to that white snake was a note that carried a seal on it with the Uchiha clan crest attached to the back of it. The snake was actually one of Sasuke's summonings and it was attempting to make its way to Naruto so it can hand him the note attached to his back. However, that plan was stopped as a sword pierced the back of the snake and the note. Holding on to that sword was one of Konoha's elders, Danzo Shimura. Sorry, Sasuke. But to be honest, I need you gone. It'll be easier to control Orochimaru if you've been absorbed by him, especially considering that curse seal implanted on you. Then with his help, I'll be able to take over Konoha and finally bring peace to this world by uniting all nations under Konoha's roof, thought Danzo as one of his root agents cleaned up the snake remains, making it appear as though it never entered Naruto's home. Orochimaru will be able to handle the Kyuubi after absorbing the Uchiha and me and my root agents will handle Konoha. Then I'll become Hokage and all I have to do is give up test subjects for Orochimaru. But honestly, I'll probably kill him as well once he's dealt with Minato's son. He'll be the only one who could stop me at that point. Seeing that everything was back to normal and there was no trace, Danzo nodded his head. Good. We are off. We have those peace talks here in 2 days with the Kiri contingent being that Hiruzen's teammates are out at the moment. And by then, the plan should be in motion, said Danzo as he vanished into the shadows of Naruto's apartment, never leaving a trace of being there behind. Hokage's Tower, 2 days later. It was morning time and approximately 9:30 when Tsunade received a knock at her door. Come in, said Tsunade, putting down her paperwork to see a man with a cane walk through the door. Ah, Danzo. You're early. Danzo closed the door behind him as he walked in and took a seat in front of Tsunade. It's been, and always has been, my personal preference to show up at least 30 minutes earlier. That's how Root used to do it, nothing like Kakashi of yours, said Danzo, peering a lone eye out at Tsunade. Wonder why he separated it like that by saying Kakashi was mine, thought Tsunade as she went back to her paperwork. While true, a little strange. He's technically over Kakashi too. Off the record at the moment, since we're both alone, said Tsunade, noticing Danzo wasn't accompanied by his root agents at the moment. Probably didn't want to risk the Mizukage noticing their presence during the meeting. Have you heard back from Sasuke? It should be about time to go after Orochimaru. Danzo closed his lone eye before answering, not yet. Though it is true, Orochimaru should be trying to take over him here soon. Unless Sasuke's switched sides, but no, that couldn't be possible. I personally trained him, said Danzo as Tsunade nodded her head in acknowledgement. True, and from what Naruto said about his most recent meeting with him, he was asking for help, so it's unlikely that he'd become a traitor, said Tsunade as she shifted her eyes up at Danzo. You didn't already send out a squad to get Sasuke, did you? Because you know how much Naruto wants to be a part of it. It's impressive that he hasn't told anyone about Root in the first place. Of course not. If and when we head out to retrieve Sasuke and end Orochimaru, Naruto will be the leader of that mission, but only if you deem it, said Danzo as Tsunade smiled. Great. I'm just glad there are no misunderstandings here. Because if you did attempt to botch the retrieval of one of my ninjas, for your own personal gain or any reason for that matter, I'll lock you away in a jail cell and end your Root program, said Tsunade in her regular voice. But Danzo could hear the authority and venom behind it. Danzo never showed any reaction to Tsunade's words on the outside, but internally he was contemplating what was said. The way she speaks is as if she knows. But that's impossible, I covered all my tracks and... thought Danzo as with a shunshin, Naruto appeared in the room with Yugito. That boy is still here. If Tsunade knew, then she'd have sent him immediately, since it'd take 2 days to get there, even at his speed. So if he hasn't left by now, then there's no way he'd get there on time. Hey Ba-chan, said Naruto with a smile before turning his face toward Danzo, ending his smile upon seeing him. Elder Danzo. Hello Tsunade-dano, said Yugito as she smiled at the blonde Hokage. Tsunade smiled back at the appearance of her favorite blondes. Yugito-chan and Naruto, nice of you two to be here. Glad you could make it on time, said Tsunade as she and Yugito began to engage in a conversation. Naruto's eyes never panned off of Danzo, however. Hello, Naruto. I see you're here for the meeting. Naruto held a stern face. Of course, I had a hand in making sure this alliance went through, so Tsunade Ba-chan asked me if I wanted to come, and I wasn't going to defy my Hokage. I'd never do something like that. He still holds animosity toward me since I sent those Root agents to stop him all those years ago, thought Danzo before answering. Neither would I. Everything I do is for Konoha, and I'm sure your Hokage understands that, and that's why she has sided with me in the past and will likely side with me in the future. Humph. It seems he refers to the moment when Tsunade sent out you and that ragtag group of rookie ninjas to try and stop Sasuke, knowing there were better shinobi available. Naruto mentally nodded. It would seem so. I just can't wait for the day that Tsunade lets me kick his ass, replied Naruto back to his bijou partner. Oh yes, definitely. I've wanted to take a crack at that guy for the longest. Ever since I was in your mother. Oh, don't worry. I'll be sure to let you take a crack at him, said Naruto before he realized something about Kurama's statement. What did you mean when you said, in my mother? Naruto heard nothing but a chuckle from Kurama in response. A few seconds later, another knock came at the door as Naruto performed a shunshin to appear before it and open the door. Upon opening it, Naruto was met by one of his favorite people in the world. "Ne-chan," said Naruto excitedly as he grabbed Shizune in a bear hug. "I haven't seen you in forever. Where have you been?" Naruto sat down Shizune as she smiled at the blonde before her. "Well, Naruto-kun, you'd see me if you took the correct way into Tsunade-sama's office. Since you go through the window all the time, you basically bypass me and all of the workers here in the Hokage Tower." Naruto looked at Shizune skeptically. "You're trying to make me lose the bet with Jiraiya-sensei, aren't you? How much is he paying you to make me feel bad about not seeing you?" You'd think Jiraiya-sama would stoop so low to get you to lose the bet of who'd be able to grow through the window the longest by paying me to get you to feel bad, questioned Shizune as Naruto nodded his head. You're right. Is it working? Yes, it is. You're an ingenious Nachan, said Naruto as Shizune smiled before addressing Tsunade. Tsunade-sama. Maidano is in the conference room waiting for you with the other elders, said Shizune as Tsunade nodded her head. Tsunade stood up as she addressed Danzo, Naruto, and Yugito. If you would all follow me to the conference room, said Tsunade as those three followed her to the office. Same time, somewhere in the land of grass. Kukukuku, Sasuke-kun. You didn't think that I'd not have a plan to stop you, did you? Questioned Orochimaru as he stared at the downed Sasuke in front of him. Along Sasuke's body was black markings and he seemed to be in extreme pain as he looked up at Orochimaru with his Sharingan. This is Danzo's Genjutsu, cursed seal. Is he in on this? Questioned Sasuke as he struggled to move, but the cursed seal was too powerful. Orochimaru smiled at Sasuke before answering. Of course Danzo was in on this. He figured that I'd be less of a threat in your body than you would be in it. Danzo has plans and mine coincide with his. All I have to do is stop Naruto-kun and that'll be easy to accomplish in your body, said Orochimaru before grinning ominously at the Uchiha. And be sure to know that none of your help is coming. Danzo made sure to stop all that. Not to mention the poison in your system was of design by Kabuto before he was captured. You're not going anywhere. Sasuke struggled some more, but it was no use. He was completely at the mercy of Orochimaru and could see the end approaching fast. In Konoha. As Danzo was approaching the conference, a small rat walked past him in the hallway. Though the rat wasn't a normal one at second glance, it had appeared to be made of ink. Which it later was as it dispelled into a group of words. Danzo-sama. That isn't the real Naruto. The Mizukage's two young shinobi are also not there. Danzo looked up at Naruto in front of him as he couldn't ascertain what his root agent was trying to get across to him. That's Naruto right there. So how could he not be the real one, thought Danzo before it hit him. He could be a wood clone. As Danzo thought that, the Naruto in front of him turned his head around slightly to look at him. Naruto smiled a big grin before turning his head back around to head into the conference room. And he took the Mizukage shinobi to help him. Thought Danzo as he continued as if nothing happened. With Orochimaru. Orochimaru looked at Sasuke as he prepared to begin the ritual to absorb Sasuke's body. Boom! An enormous explosion occurred that blew a huge chunk of the wall of the room Sasuke and Orochimaru were in. Standing in the hole of the wall with debris and rocks flying all around him was Naruto. Hot damn, I rock, said Naruto as he looked around expectantly for some laughs. 4 figures stood behind him as 2 of them looked uninterested in his joke. But I mean, hot because of the fiery explosion and the rocks falling all around us? Ah well, forget it. Sasuke-kun, came the voice of 2 of the people with Naruto. One with pink hair and the other with black hair. Sorry, Naruto-kun. Chojuro and I thought it was funny, just bad timing. You know, Orochimaru and Sasuke's condition at the moment, came the calm voice of Haku as Naruto nodded his head. I understand. You 2 are with me, said Naruto as he took off down the hallway, the same one Orochimaru took off through once the explosion happened. Being that Naruto and the 2 mist shinobi disappeared, it left Sasuke alone with Sakura and the other figure. That figure was in actuality a female. She was of average height, standing at 5 foot 4 inches tall. She had short, black hair and pink, pupil-less eyes. She wore the standard outfit of her village, which consisted of a red uniform with her right sleeve missing and a lapel over her right leg, a brown flak jacket, fishnet tights, and a skirt over them. She also wears regular shinobi sandals and a pair of gloves. Situated around her forehead was a forehead protector that had the symbol for Iwagakure carved into it. Kuratsuchi. Sakura, said Sasuke weakly, addressing the two kunoichis beside him. This is Danzo's Genjutsu. I could break it, but with the poison in my system, it's rather difficult. Did you get the antidote? Sakura nodded her head as she pulled out a vial with black liquid inside. Of course. Naruto said that Kabuto would likely have poison, and though it took a long process of mind reading, Inoichi found out the contents of the poison. Making the antidote was easy after that, said Sakura as she placed the liquid into a needle. Sasuke then bore his eyes over Kuratsuchi's pink ones as Sakura prepped the antidote. Kuratsuchi looked back into Sasuke's Sharingan as she smiled at the Uchiha in front of her. Hi, greeted Kuratsuchi as Sasuke responded with a weak hi in return. I knew you sucked as a shinobi. How could you let someone get the drop on you like that? I thought you were the almighty Uchiha from Konoha. Last of his breed. If this is the best you got, I think I may need a better dance partner. Sasuke laughed weakly as he felt a needle get stabbed into his back. You weren't saying that when I kicked you and your team's ass a year ago, said Sasuke as Kuratsuchi's face scrunched up in slight embarrassment. Please, I wasn't the one leading the mission. Nor did you fight fairly. Had it been a straight-up one-on-one, me versus you, I'd have melted your pretty boy ass, said Kuratsuchi back to Sasuke before being swept off her feet, bridal style, by the Uchiha. It's good to see you again, said Sasuke, who broke Danzo's Genjutsu with ease once he was freed of the poison in his system. Kuratsuchi smiled back at Sasuke. It's good to see you too, Sasuke-kun, said Kuratsuchi before bringing Sasuke down into a kiss. The kiss lasted for about a minute before they were interrupted by a cough, which was followed by a huge explosion. Sasuke-kun. Not to ruin your reunion, but Orochimaru is still alive and attempting to run. So if you could finish that after we finish him, that'd be great, said Sakura as Sasuke and Kuratsuchi looked sheepish at forgetting about the pressing matter at hand. Sasuke placed Kuratsuchi on the ground before nodding his head. Let's go, said Sasuke, taking off down a corridor with Kuratsuchi and Sakura in hot pursuit. Coming around a corner, they were met with an intriguing sight. Orochimaru was standing on top of a corridor, as he watched Naruto and the two most shinobis battle Edo Tensei reincarnations. Sasuke immediately recognized both of the Edo Tensei and a tear came to his eye. Especially the female one. Kachan, said Sasuke as they're in Edo Tensei form, was his mother, Uchiha Mikoto. Upon hearing Kachan, Mikoto turned to see the owner of that voice. Sasuke-chan, said Mikoto, staring out at Sasuke. I guess this Edo Tensei has its blessings, I get to see my baby boy all grown up. Sasuke stared out at Mikoto for a few more seconds before he heard Naruto slam the other figure into the ground. In doing so, Naruto slammed a palm in the stomach of the reincarnation. Fuin, seal, said Naruto as a seal spread out over the body of the figure, immobilizing him. Sorry about your dad, Sasuke, but you know how this goes. The only way to stop an Edo Tensei is to either seal them, make the user dispel the technique, or have them reach nirvana so that their souls are free to ascend from their trapped bodies. It's just I never guessed your mom would be stronger than your dad. Together they were quite the tandem. I was quite the accomplished kunoichi before I became a mother, Naruto-kun. I was also next in line to lead the Uchiha clan, but since we are a patriarch clan, Fugaku was given the right to be the leader, said Mikoto as Naruto arched his eyebrows, impressed at Mikoto's achievements. Well, at least you can't coordinate with anyone. It should be easier to stop you now, said Naruto before he heard Orochimaru laugh. Kukukuku, Naruto-kun, you underestimate me and my power. I just needed to spare some time before I could gain enough power to summon the next body. One I'm sure you'll know well, said Orochimaru before clapping his hands together. Kuchios, Edo Tensei, summoning, impure world reincarnation, said Orochimaru as a coffin rose beside him. This coffin was different however as it was blood red in color. Mikoto jumped back up beside Orochimaru and the coffin, just as the lid to the coffin fell, revealing the person. Naruto's eyes bulged out at who Orochimaru managed to summon. If you thought Mikoto and Fugaku were tough as a tandem, just imagine what these two can do. Actually don't imagine, because you'll have to face them right now, said Orochimaru as Naruto began to tremble slightly. Naruto immediately recognized the person. Seeing their faces made Naruto feel weak in the knees. Kachan, said Naruto weakly as Uzumaki Kushina was reincarnated by Orochimaru. Kushina's eyes opened to reveal black sclerae surrounding violet eyes that matched Naruto's. Kushina's eyes then pandered over into Naruto's own. Naruto-chan, my baby. My how you've grown, said Kushina, smiling at the young man in front of her. Kushina then looked behind her to see Orochimaru standing there with a devious grin on his face. Orochimaru theme, I should have known this would happen. Of course my dear Kushina-chan. And I'll have you know, your son is quite the nuisance to me. So why not have the person who brought him into this world be the one to take him out, asked a smiling Orochimaru before commanding Kushina mentally to attack her son. Mikoto was made to follow suit as she lunged out at Sasuke. Naruto caught Kushina's fist in his palm, as his feet skidded back due to the power behind the strike. Sasuke merely parried Mikoto's fist as she continued past him, cracking the ground slightly. The mother and son duos then began a fast taijutsu battle as blows were exchanged from mother to son. While this was going on, the other four members of Naruto's group were wondering what to do. Should we help them or should we go after Orochimaru? Questioned Chojuro, anxious to know what to do. Naruto dodged one of Kushina's kicks before backpedaling toward Sasuke. Sasuke performed a backflip to evade Mikoto's punch as he landed back-to-back with Naruto. Naruto took the opportunity to address his team. Don't worry guys. Sasuke and I will handle our mothers. You guys just go grab the other three people who will be joining us, said Naruto as Sasuke reached into his back pocket. Here are their coordinates. Meet us at the rendezvous point and we'll head out from there, said Sasuke as the team of four nodded before taking off toward the first person on the list, who wasn't far away and was trapped in a container of water. Orochimaru looked interested at the instructions being handed out by the two young shinobi in front of him. They must have forgotten about me. I could just leave at any time. Or I could stay and hope that Sasuke gets injured enough to the point that I can take over his body, thought Orochimaru before he decided to do the former. I can always get Sasuke later, I'll have to find another body in the meantime, but Sasuke can wait. There's no use in getting killed today, I have too much to accomplish. Orochimaru turned to leave the building before his face was met by the underside of a wooden geta. Orochimaru was sent careening over Naruto and Sasuke, back through the room that they'd just come from. Glad to see I'm not late to the party, came the voice of the man behind the wooden geta. Killing my old teammate, I'm about to check that off of my bucket list today. Jiraiya-sensei, we left him just for you, said Naruto as Jiraiya nodded his head before taking off after where he sent Orochimaru. You just be careful, kids. Your mothers are no pushovers. At one point they were deemed to be as good as Tsunade. They were even deadlier as a duo, said Jiraiya before disappearing down the corridor. Naruto and Sasuke turned their heads back to their respective mothers as they prepared to do battle once more. Though I don't like the circumstances. I did want to meet you, Kachan. I've heard so much about you. Naruto's words brought a smile to Kushina's face. Well, I hope you find a way to stop me. Because I can't control my movements. Here I come, said Kushina as she sprinted back out at Naruto. Naruto returned her sprint as he prepared to meet her head-on. Naruto and Kushina clashed together in a standstill as Naruto blocked Kushina's kick with his forearm while Kushina blocked Naruto's other fist with both of her arms. Naruto wasn't prepared for a golden chain to come flying out the back of his mother's hair. Naruto, those are your mother's chakra chains. They have the power to suppress chakra. Do not get struck by one of those, said Kurama urgently in Naruto's head as Naruto acknowledged his partner and jumped to the side to dodge. Naruto didn't have to wait long before 3 more chains appeared from Kushina's back and all of them were dancing around menacingly behind her. Kushina came back at Naruto full speed, as she began to lash out with more strikes that coordinated well with the chains that were floating behind her. Mom is so good at taijutsu. It's scary. If this continues for any longer, I'll get struck by either her or one of her chains, thought Naruto as he continued to narrowly dodge Kushina's assault as that was all he felt he could do. Meanwhile, Mikoto and Sasuke were still locking eyes with one another. Though on the outside it appeared as if they were just standing there. However, the two were actually locked in a battle of Genjutsu. Eventually, Sasuke began to flow through hand seals that were quickly mirrored by Mikoto. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Grand Fireball Technique, said Sasuke and Mikoto simultaneously as they both blew out huge fireballs toward one another. However, Sasuke immediately realized he was going to lose the battle when he noticed that Mikoto's fireball was nearly twice the size of his. Luckily, Naruto appeared next to Sasuke in a shunshin as he held the ram seal. Suiton, Suijin Hiki, Water Style, Water Encampment Wall, thought Naruto before he spat out an enormous stream of water that quickly doused the fire that was slowly approaching Sasuke. Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief at Naruto's timely arrival. That was close. My mom is basically the same as me. Only better. She was beating me down in our Genjutsu fight and there was nothing I could do about it. Then the fireball technique just now, said Sasuke hard-pressed at how he was going to defeat his mom. What about yours? Questioned Sasuke as he looked at the blonde beside him. Well, I'm just a clone. Boss is over there getting murdered by Kachan. He can't catch a break, he created 4 of us and only I made it over to help you and possibly formulate a plan, said the clone Naruto as Sasuke nodded his head. Well, if you can come up with something let me know because right now, we're getting nowhere fighting alone. Which was a good plan considering Jiraiya-sama said they were a fearsome duo, said Sasuke as Naruto's clone nodded. Well, what makes you both any different? I mean when you both were in Umbu together, you guys seemed unstoppable. Or when we helped protect the village, said the clone, shifting into a defense seeing Mikoto run through hand seals. Maybe fighting together is better than alone. Sasuke thought for a moment before agreeing with the replica of Naruto. Maybe you're right. Now we just have to tell Naruto, said Sasuke as he was pushed out of the way by the clone. Got it covered, said the clone before he was violently blown to pieces by Mikoto's fire jutsu just now. Katan, Ryuka no Jutsu, Fire Style, Fire Dragon Technique, said Mikoto as she placed her hands on her hips and looked out at Sasuke with disappointment. Now if that clone hadn't moved you out of the way, you would have been blown to bits by that jutsu. Didn't anyone ever teach you to never take your eyes off your opponent? Questioned Mikoto in a motherly tone as Sasuke stood back up from being pushed away by the clone. Just as Sasuke was standing up, Naruto landed beside him with several cut marks on his clothes, but nothing that actually hit his skin. Dude, this sucks, said Naruto, noticing the single marks on Sasuke's shirt and pants from Mikoto's last jutsu. You're right, but I think your clone had the right idea. We weren't getting anywhere separate and I don't think a change of mothers would have helped either. We need to do this together, said Sasuke as Naruto nodded his head. Kushina landed next to Mikoto as her chains continued to dance behind her head. Let's do this, said Naruto as he placed his hands in the snake seal. Mokuton, Makujiki, Wood Style, Wood Locking Wall, thought Naruto as he surrounded Sasuke and himself in a dome of interlocking wooden pillars. Kushina and Mikoto both appeared on the outside of the wall before smashing a hole through each side of it. Upon doing so, they realized that nothing was in the dome. Only a ceiling array could be seen on the ground, that spread out underneath the both of them. Mokuton Kuchios, Wood Style Summoning, thought Naruto was a huge, Venus flytrap sprung from the ground to eat Kushina and Mikoto. Both Mikoto and Kushina jumped as Mikoto fired a huge fireball into the mouth of the giant plant. The plant swallowed the fireball whole as it began to burn internally while smoke clouded the area. The plant continued to burn to a crisp as Mikoto and Kushina could be seen coming out of the smoke cloud, descending to the ground. Upon descending, however, they were met in midair by Sasuke. "Deburu Chidori, double Chidori," shouted Sasuke, who held two Chidoris in his hands that pierced both Mikoto and Kushina at the same time. Sasuke immediately pulled his hand out of Mikoto and Kushina as a branch snagged him and pulled him away from the two. Boom! Both Mikoto and Kushina had exploded in midair. "Kachan must have made the switch while they were in the smoke cloud," said Naruto, bringing Sasuke down beside him from the branch that was his arm. Naruto's arm morphed back into his regular arm as he sensed Mikoto and Kushina behind him and Sasuke. "This is going to be a long fight, Sasuke." "I'm sorry, baby." "I can't help it," said Kushina as Naruto nodded his head in understanding. Mikoto then smiled. "It seems you were right, Kushina. Sasuke and Naruto did grow up to be friends. And that combination just now would have gotten lesser shinobis. This is great, too bad we have to fight each other." "Yeah, I hear you on that," said Sasuke as Mikoto and Kushina began to sprint back at their sons. "Here they come. Again. With Haku and Chojuro." The group of four consisting of Haku, Chojuro, Sakura, and Kuratsuchi split up to get to their targets faster. Sakura took to the southernmost hideout in search of one of the people on Sasuke's list. Kuratsuchi went to the northernmost hideout in search of the second person on Sasuke's list. While Haku and Chojuro took to the third member of Sasuke's list. Haku rounded a turn with Chojuro as they were met with a door that appeared to be bolted shut. Haku stopped in front of the door as she looked back at Chojuro behind her. Haku placed a hand on the door as ice began to spread out over the door in its entirety. Feeling as though she froze enough of the door, Haku backed away. "Chojuro," said Haku as Chojuro nodded his head. Chojuro pulled the big sword off his back as he held it with both hands. The bandages around the sword unraveled as Chojuro let out a big shout while swinging the sword at the door. "Hiramakari Kai, Hiramakari release," said Chojuro as chakra coated Hiramakari before turning into the shape of a hammer. Chojuro smashed the chakra hammer into the frozen door, which turned into tiny pieces due to its newfound brittleness from Haku icing it. Haku was the first into the room as she came upon a large water tank. Haku didn't wait long before she heard a voice come from the water tank that made her smile happily on the inside. "Is that Haku-chan?" "And Chojuro," came a voice from the water tank as Haku smiled. "Suigetsu-kun, you're here," said Haku as she and Chojuro prepared to set Suigetsu free. "South hideout with Sakura." "What the hell do you mean I have to come with you?" questioned a redhead girl, wearing glasses who looked to be the same age as Sakura. The girl was in a fighting stance as she attempted to fight Sakura. "It's not me who wants you to come with us. It's Sasu started Sakura before she had to dodge a punch from the redhead. "I don't want to hear about this. There's no way, absolutely no way I'd ever come with you." "I don't care who wants me to," said the girl before Sakura appeared behind her. Sakura placed a glowing palm on the back of the girl's head, causing the girl to fall into a deep sleep. "Kami, why couldn't I get the psycho?" questioned Sakura as she proceeded to drag the redhead out of the building before activating the seal she placed. Boom! Sakura blew up the entire hideout, leaving nothing out of reach from the explosion, effectively destroying every last piece of the hideout and all of the nasty experiments inside. Sakura then proceeded back to the rendezvous point with the redhead in tow. North hideout with Kuratsuchi. "Why couldn't I get the weak redhead?" questioned Kuratsuchi as she dodged a huge fist. The fist blew out a hole in the wall as the man behind the fist looked at Kuratsuchi with a crazed look. "I'll kill you." "Ha ha ha," came the even crazier voice of the large man with orange hair. He made a move to attack Kuratsuchi again before he was stopped dead in his tracks by Kuratsuchi's next jutsu. "Yotan, Sekijio no Jutsu, lava style, quicklime congealing technique," thought Kuratsuchi as she realized a wave of quicklime from her mouth at the large man, which acted like quick-drying cement, quickly immobilizing him from moving any further. The man with orange hair proceeded to struggle to move but couldn't as the jutsu was too powerful for him to break. The man then succumbed to unconsciousness as Katsuchi placed the seal Naruto had given her on his forehead, cutting off the large man's chakra and sending him into a deep sleep. "That should do it," said Katsuchi before realizing she'd now have to lug the large man out of there. "Sasuke owes me for this," finished Katsuchi, picking up the man before heading out of the hideout. On her way out of the hideout, there were several other people situated outside. All of them were dead as Katsuchi killed them on her way to her target. "Cursed seal. I feel bad for killing you all but, it had to be done," said Katsuchi, and just before leaving, she placed the man on the ground as she put her hands in the snake seal. Katsuchi slammed both of her palms on the ground as all around her, everything rumbled as if an earthquake was occurring. "Doton, Sando no Jutsu, Earth Release, Sandwich Technique," thought Katsuchi as the ground began to rumble tremendously. On both sides of the hideout, enormous walls of earth rose that were double the size of the hideout before they closed together, sandwiching the entire hideout between them. Katsuchi then placed her hands in the ram seal as she stomped the ground with her foot. The sandwich earth Katsuchi created spewed out a large amount of lava as Katsuchi essentially created a volcano to destroy the northern hideout. Katsuchi picked the man back up as she proceeded to head back to the rendezvous point with Jiraiya and Orochimaru. Jiraiya jumped into the room he just kicked Orochimaru into to see Orochimaru regurgitating another one of himself. Jiraiya's sudden arrival surprised Orochimaru, and that kick from earlier definitely would have killed or at least incapacitated a lesser man. "Good to see you still alive there, old friend," said Jiraiya, staring into the slit eyes of Orochimaru. "I hope that you didn't think I wouldn't show up to kill you. I feel I deserve that honor after all these years and since you killed my sensei." "Kukukuku. Of course, you'd be here. I should have known," said Orochimaru as he interlaced his fingers. Orochimaru then proceeded to cough out his ever-sharp Kusanagi blade as he held it in his hands. "I will kill you, Jiraiya. And afterward, I will absorb that Uchiha boy once his mother is finished with him. Ha! If you think Naruto will get defeated, you have another thing coming. That kid is already stronger than both of us, and I'm sure that Sasuke kid is no pushover. Even if Kushina and Mikoto are powerful, those two will surely come away victorious. In which case, they'll come to watch me beat your ass," said Jiraiya as he continued to stall. "That's if they can get over the emotional wall that'll impede their talents and thinking from facing their dear mothers," said Orochimaru with a smile as he finally realized why Jiraiya didn't immediately continue attacking him. Sage Mode. Around Jiraiya's eyes, an orange pigmentation began to align across his brow as his eyes turned golden and his pupil became bar-like. "Oh yeah. I'll have to remember to thank Naruto for those tips. I'm officially a complete sage," said Jiraiya with a smile. Jiraiya then smirked at his old friend Orochimaru. "Oh yeah, it's about to go down." "You're right, Jiraiya. It is. You're not the only one who was stalling for time," said Orochimaru as horns began to grow from his head and the purple pigmentation around his eyes grew darker and flowed farther down his face through his back. "You're not the only one who knows Sage Mode." Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru as his smirk dropped slightly. "Fuck," said Jiraiya as Orochimaru came sprinting at him with his sword cocked back. Naruto and Sasuke were in hell. Not literally, but if there was a circumstance one could concoct that would be close in similarity to hell, the one they were in was the closest they'd ever been. Naruto and Sasuke both looked worse for wear as their clothes were torn, cuts and bruises aligned their faces and bodies, and they were certain that they would be sore afterward if they made it out alive. Their opponents, despite their somber faces, were no worse for wear. In actuality, they were in perfect condition due to the infamous jutsu created by the Nidaime Hokage, Edo Tensei, Impure World Reincarnation. "Naruto-chan," said a concerned Kushina even though she was the main one putting the beating on her son. "Are you okay?" Naruto blew out a deep breath to calm himself as he nodded his head. Of course I am. Just have to find a way to beat my incredibly strong mother. No big deal. Well, you are doing a terrible job at it then. You're much stronger than this, I can feel it, said Kushina as Naruto prepared a rebuttal. Kachan, you're super strong. And what do you mean I'm doing a terrible job? I'm giving it my all, said Naruto as Kushina shook her head. Before Kushina answered, Sasuke decided to for her. She's right, Naruto, said Sasuke while wiping the trail of blood from his mouth. He stood at full height behind his best friend who turned an eye to him. You haven't been going all out. And neither have I. Mikoto nodded her head in agreement. This is true. My eyes are the best in the world. I can see that you both aren't utilizing your full potential, said Mikoto before turning to Naruto. I mean, you haven't even used your Jinchuriki power. Naruto blanched at that realization. She was right. Not once had he even contemplated tapping into Kurama's power. Seeing your mother had your mind scrambled. Naruto arrived in his mind to see his bijou. You've been taking it easy on your mother without even realizing it. So you can spend as much time as you can with her if I were to guess. I understand you want to see her, but if you keep this up, you will lose the ability to finish her despite her. Naruto considered everyone's words as he looked up into his mother's concerned eyes. Naruto breathed out another calming breath before nodding his head. You're right. All of you, said Naruto as a fiery, orange chakra shroud began to cover his entire body. Seal markings began to appear across his body as his eyes turned a vibrant orange. Kurama is right. I wanted to spend as much time with you as possible, Kachan. Now I understand, I'm sorry for what I have to do. I feel the same. However, I died and wish to be back by your father's side. His soul finally came to the place where mine was and I would really enjoy going back to him. Sasuke walked up next to Naruto as Naruto held a fist out towards him. Fist bumping with Naruto, Sasuke's body immediately became shrouded in a red, bubbly Jinchuriki cloak. Sasuke smirked, feeling the potent chakra flow through his body. Just like old times. Let's do this, said Sasuke as he placed his hands in the tiger seal. Naruto nodded his head before placing his hands in the ram seal. Katan, Gameyu Enden, fire style, toad flame bombs, said Naruto shooting out a torrent of oil at the same time as Sasuke's stream of fire. The fire and oil combined into a potent mixture as it exploded on contact in the small space between the two Edo Tensei reincarnations. Smoke clouded the area around the two mothers as Naruto and Sasuke waited to see if their attack hit them. Sasuke, 8 o'clock. It's Mikoto, said Naruto before creating 10 clones all clad in their own Jinchuriki cloak. My clones will stall her while we take care of Kushina first. It'll be better to split them up and take them two at a time. Seeing that Kushina would be more difficult, we'll take her first. Sasuke nodded at Naruto before following the Jinchuriki. Seems you've grown into a leader over the years, Naruto thought Sasuke as they approached Kushina. And this transfer of your bijou's chakra is impressive. That fireball was at least 3 times more powerful than I'd ever done before. And you've been handling chakra this powerful all this time? How good are you now? Kushina came to a stop after splitting up with Mikoto to evade the jutsu to see Naruto and Sasuke approaching her. Kushina blocked Naruto's punch before receiving a harsh kick to the side of the head from Sasuke. However, another one of Kushina's chains appeared, blocking the powerful kick from the Uchiha. This is a good plan. To split me and Mikoto up while attacking one of us in a 2-on-1 situation. Now you're thinking, said Kushina before she heard a swirling noise behind her that only one jutsu was made. He learned Minato-kun's jutsu. Hit with the signature jutsu, Kushina was sent flying across the room. Noticing the Naruto in front of her had latched onto her with a bear hug, Kushina prepared for the worst. Bunshin Daibakufu, clone great explosion, thought Naruto as the clone attached to Kushina exploded. Sasuke landed next to the original Naruto as he looked impressed at the display. Naruto, that was quite the sequence, said Sasuke as Naruto looked to check on the condition of his mother. The smoke from the clone exploding died down as Naruto looked at a crazy sight. Nice combination. You would have had me if not for this, said Kushina, now cloaked in the same bubbly chakra as Sasuke. Seems my mother managed to steal my clone's chakra, said Naruto, amazed at his mother's ability. Naruto blanched when he received the rapid-fire memories from his clones. Sasuke, your mom just destroyed all of my clones in one swoop. And you won't believe how. One swoop? Sasuke turned to his mother and his eyes went wide. You're kidding me. How? Mikoto jumped into view shrouded by a vibrant yellow chakra. I've seen a lot of things in my time, Sasuke-chan. Including my own best friend's death. It happened the night of the Kyuubi attack, said Mikoto as her eyes could be seen now. Her Sharingan's design was now 3 thin lines inwardly swirling towards the pupil and 3 thicker swirls in the same manner. Susanoo. The yellow chakra shroud around Mikoto was a spectral image of a humanoid being more human in appearance than Sasuke's version. The Kyuubi chakra shrouded Kushina landed beside Mikoto in her Susanoo as they prepared to face off against their sons again. Well, this certainly makes it interesting, said Naruto as the orange shroud around him grew to form the upper body of a chakra Kurama. Naruto and Sasuke in Naruto's Kurama avatar stood opposing Mikoto and Kushina standing in Mikoto's Susanoo. If this were a picture, it'd be awesome. Am I right? Huh? Anybody? The other 3 smiled before the 4 began sprinting toward one another. The battle wasn't over just yet. With Jiraiya and Orochimaru. A huge explosion rocked the area as Orochimaru came flying out of the smoke cloud with Jiraiya coming out of the other side. Both of them were holding a different hand seal as they each prepped a jutsu. Senpo, Kibari Senbon, Sage Art, Hair Needle Senbon, said Jiraiya as he landed on all 4s with his hair protruding past him, pointed directly at Orochimaru. The hair on Jiraiya's head hardened as he sent a continuous wave of sharpened hair follicles turned needles directly at Orochimaru. Orochimaru smirked at the impressive speed of the jutsu but was just a bit too slow as his own jutsu countered it flawlessly. Senpo, Futon, Daitapa, Sage Art, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. A violent and sudden gust of wind picked up immediately behind Orochimaru toward Jiraiya. Due to the force of the wind, the needles that were traveling toward Orochimaru stopped in midair and turned back for Jiraiya. Oh shit, shrieked Jiraiya, being picked up by the gust of wind as he was tossed back into the wall by the wind and hit hundreds of times with his own hair needles. Orochimaru smirked at catching Jiraiya off guard. Jiraiya sat perfectly in the Jiraiya-sized crater in the wall, groaning in pain as his own hair needles bounced harmlessly off of his skin. Jiraiya moved out of the wall as he looked at Orochimaru. Didn't know you had that up your sleeve. Kukukuku, it seems your sage mode gives you extra powers, said Orochimaru with a grin. Your skin is like steel now, I see. Heh, told you toads were better than snakes. All you got were those stupid horns and that purple eyeliner that runs all the way down your back, said Jiraiya with a smirk as he noticed Orochimaru placed his hands in a weird hand seal. Actually, I have a question for you. How are you using jutsus? Enma said, Sensei stole your arms with the Shinigami. Of all the things your sterling disciple is, he is ever clumsy. I'm assuming that he one day found the Shinigami no Men, Death God mask, said Orochimaru as Jiraiya looked up in remembrance. Flashback, 6 months ago. Naruto, where are we? Questioned Jiraiya as Naruto pointed toward the rundown building they just walked up to. This? What is this? Oh, there's a sign, Uzumaki clan's mask storage temple. Jiraiya formed an "oh" with his mouth as Naruto nodded his head. Am I right? Why did no one know about this? And if they did, why didn't they tell me about this? Even if it wasn't proven at that time that I was an Uzumaki, my last name was Uzumaki for Kami's sake. Well, your mom is Uzumaki Kushina. And you're the only Uzumaki I've seen since her, I guess it is yours. But why are we really here? Naruto tapped a hand on Jiraiya's shoulder as they vanished in a shunshin to the inside of the building. Sheesh, it's dusty in here, said Naruto after landing in the tiny building with Jiraiya. Naruto looked around for a second before he noticed the thing he was looking for. Jiraiya looked over to see Naruto picking up a mask. Is that the Shinigami's face? Shouted Jiraiya in a slight panic as Naruto nodded. What are you going to do with it? Wait, is this what I think it is? I remember Minato talking about it one day, which means you know I'm going to free the souls of those trapped. Meaning, Sarutobi Jiji, Hashirama Jiji, Tobirama-sama, my dad, and the other half of Kurama, said Naruto happily as Jiraiya looked intrigued. Other half of Kurama? Kurama said dad had to split his chakra in half. Half with him and the other half with me. Jiraiya gave a nod. Plus, you told me what Jiji's monkey summon said of him using it as well, continued Naruto as the markings of his sage mode began to appear on his face. And I'll need sage mode if I ever hope to not die. Might want to stand back, Jiraiya-sensei. No worries about me. I'm sure I'll be fine. You usually are. But if I do die, tell everyone I'll miss them and I'm sorry for doing something so stupid. I can do that, said Jiraiya as he watched his student attempt to commit a dangerous and potentially suicidal act. Something he'd likely get blamed for by those who care about Naruto since he could have easily stopped him. However, Jiraiya is indeed faithful to his student and hopes that he knows what he's doing. Naruto placed the mask on his face as his arms immediately strung up parallel to his shoulders. Shiki Fujin, Kai, dead demon consuming seal, release, said Naruto in a possessed voice. An image of the Shinigami appeared behind Naruto as it pulled its spectral sword out of its sheath. The Shinigami then proceeded to rip a large hole through its stomach, allowing several souls to freely float from it. Jiraiya looked impressed by the display until he noticed Naruto appear to be cut almost in half. Whoa! Naruto, questioned Jiraiya in fear at the sight of his disciple laying face down in a steadily growing pool of his own blood. Naruto? Jiraiya approached the motionless Naruto before noticing something off. Naruto, you're not even close to dying, said Jiraiya as Naruto continued to stay still lying down on the floor. Maybe I'll just tell Yugito about what you just did. I think she'd like to know about this near-death experience. Naruto immediately sprung up off the ground with nothing but a large rip through his shirt as he shook his head no. I'm cool. How dope is my sage mode though? Regeneration is amazing, said Naruto as Jiraiya smiled that his student was fine. Alright, so now what? Asked Jiraiya as Naruto put his hands in the ram seal. One of the souls, the largest one in the room, flew into Naruto as Naruto's eyes shut closed and his body glowed bright orange. You feel that, Kurama? Questioned Naruto in his head as he could practically feel the grin on Kurama's face. I definitely feel it. Welcome back. Naruto appeared in his mindscape as he looked at Kurama. Naruto smiled before feeling a presence behind him, a very familiar presence. Yo, came a voice that eerily sounded just like Kurama's. Naruto turned around to see another Kurama standing there, although this one had darker fur. So this is Naruto. It is a pleasure to meet you. Naruto looked the second Kurama up and down as he grimaced slightly. Yo, how do you already know about me? Questioned Naruto as the darker-furred Kurama pointed toward the regular Kurama. So you guys already synced or something? It's been like 3 seconds since you got in here? Both Kuramas looked at Naruto with a deadpan expression. You do realize that the human brain processes things at a rate unfathomable to comprehend. Meaning that hours in here are barely even a second in the real world, said Kurama as Naruto nodded his head in recollection. Forgot about that. Anyway, this is going to be creepy. Are there really going to be two Kuramas in my head? Questioned Naruto as he noticed only one Kurama standing there now. His original Kurama was all by his lonesome once more. Wait? You guys merged? You're kidding me, right? How did that happen so fast? Never mind, unfathomable to comprehend. Wait, you got big. The lone Kurama in the room nodded his head. This was my actual size before your father took the een half of my chakra. Now, I'm back to normal and I feel damn good. You should get back to the real world while I remember how great I was. You still have work to finish, said Kurama as Naruto was firmly ejected from his mind. I didn't even know he could eject me from my own mind. Maybe it's because he got stronger? After all, his other half of chakra is back, said Naruto as he noticed Jiraiya looking at him. Oh right. That was the een half of Kurama that Dad stole during the Kyuubi attack. I have assimilated it and I feel awesome. Like, more awesome than usual. Naruto flexed his chakra and got Jiraiya to buckle at its increased potency. Anyway, being that these are the souls of the previous 4 Hokages and Orochimaru has DNA of them and knows Edo Tensei, we'll have to seal them. Just in case he manages to reincarnate them somehow, with one of his lackeys or anything. Sounds good to me, kiddo. Glad you're alright. But weren't there 6 floating soul things? If you absorbed one and there's only 4 here now, what happened to the last one? Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Beats me. All I know is that the 4 that matter are here and that's all that really mattered in the first place. By the way, are you buying lunch? Questioned Naruto as Jiraiya grinned. The last one to the restaurant pays. Go, said Jiraiya as he hightailed it out of there, leaving Naruto all alone in the room. You're a cheater, and I still have to finish the ceiling, said Naruto as he then realized something. We never agreed on a restaurant. Flashback end. That extra soul there, those were your arms, said Jiraiya as Orochimaru nodded his head. Since your actual soul is still here, it must have been drawn back to it. Meaning we never would have been able to stop it once it was freed. Yes, how incredible of him to find that for me. I'd been looking for it since Tsunade turned me down those years ago, said Orochimaru, who was still holding that same hand seal. And your sage mode isn't the only one that allows other abilities. Jiraiya felt the entire room begin to shake as the floor and walls began to liquefy. Senpo, Muki Tensei, Sage Art, Inorganic Reincarnation, said Orochimaru as the room began to branch out to attack Jiraiya. Jiraiya looked shocked by the jutsu but managed to leap out of the way due to the sensory abilities granted to him through Sage Mode. You can't get away, Jiraiya, I own this whole room now. This is my territory. Jiraiya jumped high into the air as he nodded his head. That's impressive. Can't lie, said Jiraiya, biting his thumb as the room continued to approach him to attack him. Kuchios, summoning. An enormous poof of smoke appeared around Jiraiya as the room entered the cloud to attack him. Orochimaru waited patiently as he wondered whether his attack got to Jiraiya before he could get out whatever he was trying to summon. It all proved for naught as the room that was once attacking Jiraiya was being fought back by a powerful jutsu from the white-haired Sannin and 2 small toads attached to his shoulders. Senpo, Gomen, Sage Art, Bath of Boiling Oil, said Jiraiya as he was blowing out a stream of oil, which combined with the fire being spewed by the toad on his left shoulder and the wind from the toad on his right shoulder. Feeling the intense heat of Jiraiya's jutsu, the room reverted to its original inanimate form as Jiraiya's technique came splashing down around Orochimaru. Seeing the danger, Orochimaru leaped away onto the wall opposing Jiraiya. As Orochimaru landed, he was met with an enormous ball of chakra that he knew well. Cho Odama Rasengan, Ultra Big Ball Rasengan, said Jiraiya, now beside Orochimaru holding an enormous Rasengan in his hand. The jutsu connected cleanly with Orochimaru, who was sent sailing back down into the ground below them, right into the boiling oil. Jiraiya looked down at his one friend who was melting in the boiling hot oil. So, you're finally going to do it, Jiraiya-chan? Questioned the small toad on Jiraiya's right shoulder. Seeing Jiraiya nod, the small toad nodded as well. Whack. Ow, what was that for? Questioned Jiraiya, who was taken out of safe mode for a second before regaining it almost immediately. Why'd you hit me, Fukasaku-sensei? The small toad, Fukasaku, was holding what appeared to be a walking stick as he explained himself. Didn't me and Ma tell you ages ago to take care of this? And now you wait until he can use Sage Mode and all that nonsense. You just made it harder by not finishing it earlier. Don't worry, Jiraiya-chan, I understand, said the other toad, getting Jiraiya to smile. Thank you, Shima-sama. I'm glad one of you understands. Whack. Stop hitting me, exclaimed Jiraiya after being hit by a rolling pin from Shima. Pa's right. You should have taken care of this ages ago. Now we have to deal with this creepy guy. This is all your fault. Don't worry. We'll fix it today, I promise. Orochimaru will be dead by the end of this battle. Whack whack. Jiraiya had 2 more knots on his head due to the combined attack of Shima and Fukasaku. Are you both done now? Can we get on with hitting Orochimaru rather than me? Questioned Jiraiya as the 2 toads looked at each other. Okay, let's do this, said Fukasaku as the 3 sages looked to see Orochimaru standing up in perfect condition, having regurgitated another of himself while Jiraiya argued with the 2 toads. What do you think, Jiraiya-chan, can we take him? That's debatable, said Jiraiya as the 2 toads listened intently. While I'm sure we can batter him around for several minutes, let alone hours, and come out winning, it would do no justice as his Sage Mode won't run out. He's continually drawing it in, even while moving. And since I have you 2 now, I won't ever come out of Sage Mode either. And us hurting him does nothing if he can just cough up another one of himself. I'm at a loss really. The 2 elderly toads considered the words as they watched Orochimaru look toward them with a grin. Genjutsu. We'll need to use Genjutsu, Ma, said Fukasaku as before Shima could argue about not singing in front of people, he stopped her. We have to. It'll be the only thing that'll work on him. Fine, said Shima as she placed her hands together with Pa. You better not laugh at us, Jiraiya-chan. And we'll need some time. Stall him as long as possible. Jiraiya nodded his head as his eyes never panned off of Orochimaru. So Rochi, said Jiraiya as Orochimaru blanched at the nickname. How are you gathering senjutsu while on the move? That has to be the most impressive thing I've ever seen, besides how fast Naruto can enter Sage Mode and the length at which he can sustain it on just 1 juice up. Naruto knows senjutsu as well? I'll have to make sure he's dead by the end of this, said Orochimaru as he smirked. But a power I assimilated from an experiment of mine. Yugo is his name and his body naturally attracts senjutsu. It's quite impressive. Cultivating those cells into myself was easy, and it granted me the ability to stay in Sage Mode whether I move or not. But no more stalling. I will kill you and those pint-sized toads on your shoulder. Orochimaru picked up his dropped Kusanagi blade from earlier in their fight as he sprinted back up the wall toward Jiraiya. Jiraiya breathed out an enormous wall of fire as Orochimaru immediately responded by sending out a huge torrent of water. Steam clouded the area for a second as Jiraiya came back into focus a few moments later with Orochimaru right upon him. Jiraiya ducked a sword strike that would have split him in 2 as Jiraiya needed to continue to move or be struck by the legendary blade. Jiraiya sidestepped a straightforward stab by Orochimaru before being kicked abruptly away by the snake Sannin. The kick, while blocked, propelled Jiraiya into the wall as Orochimaru's sword grew to stab Jiraiya from across the room. The Jiraiya in the wall looked shocked at being stabbed before he dispelled in a poof of smoke. Orochimaru looked not surprised at the shadow clone as he knew it'd take more than that to kill Jiraiya. You may be a fool, Jiraiya, but I will respect your skills as a shinobi, said Orochimaru as he heard Jiraiya chuckle, though it seemed to come from everywhere. Thanks, Rochi. I am pretty damn good if I do say so myself, said Jiraiya, now coming back into view from the floorboards of the room. Kukukuku. Well, it seems like those toads on your shoulders are building up for something, said Orochimaru as he held the bird hand seal. Why not ruin their concentration? Senpo, Hakageki no Jutsu, Sage Art, White Rage Technique. A dragon-like entity came flying out of Orochimaru's mouth that was carrying a small blue orb. Jiraiya was prepared for the fast-paced dragon and put his hands up in an attempt to block. However, the dragon stopped about several feet from Jiraiya before coiling around on itself. As it did that, the orb in its hand glowed brightly as it let out a deafening noise and blinding light. The three-toed sages immediately felt the effects of the jutsu. This jutsu. It's not only meant to constrict the senses of vision and hearing. It's also to create temporary paralysis. My bones feel like they are grinding together, thought Jiraiya as he noticed Orochimaru sprinting toward him. How can he handle this environment? A snake has the ability to close off the cornea in its eyes, so the light doesn't bother me. And since I've assimilated the abilities of Suigetsu's clan, my body can handle the intense vibrations caused by the noise. I'm the only one who can move in these conditions, said Orochimaru as he neared the motionless Jiraiya. Orochimaru reached Jiraiya as he struck the paralyzed sages with several debilitating blows, each. Orochimaru then booted Jiraiya away as he stalked the down-toed sages who were still laying there feeling the effects of the jutsu. Several snakes began to crawl out of Orochimaru's sleeve as they began to head toward the necks of the three. The snakes struck the sages as the blinding light and deafening noise disappeared to just meager faint croaks. Orochimaru looked giddy that he'd been able to finally get Jiraiya. Orochimaru closed his eyes to blink and upon opening them, noticed himself trapped in what appeared to be a cube of water. Looking to his left and right, Orochimaru saw he was surrounded on all four sides by giant stone toads. Appearing in the field in front of Orochimaru was Jiraiya with the two toads on his shoulders still. Orochimaru wondered what was going on. Is this Genjutsu? How? I'm in sage mode. Jiraiya chuckled before grabbing one of the stone swords from the statues. Well, Rochi. These 2 pint-sized toads on my shoulders dash. Whack whack. Jiraiya sighed as 2 knots formed on his head again. Shima and Fukasaku-sensei have been sages for a long time. In that time, they've learned new abilities. One being, Magen, Gamma Rinsho, Demonic Illusion, Toad Confrontation Chant, a very powerful genjutsu that immobilizes anybody within the sound of those croaks. Orochimaru's eyes widened in recollection as he had heard those croaks when he thought he finished off Jiraiya. But I'm a sage. Should the influx of senjutsu cancel all genjutsu? Questioned Orochimaru, appearing afraid for his life for the first time in a long time. While that is true, genjutsu doesn't work on a sage, regular genjutsu. However, this is a senjutsu-enhanced genjutsu and as such, affects you, said Jiraiya as he positioned the sword over Orochimaru's heart. I'd love to continue this chat with Orochimaru, but this is long overdue and there's no need for more words. I beat you. And now, you're dead. Goodbye, old friend. No. This can't be. I've done everything. I'm immortal. I can't perish here, shouted Orochimaru in his mind as the sword above him began its descent. Naruto and Sasuke vs Kushina and Mikoto. The Kurama avatar was headed toward the yellow Susanoo as the 4 figures inside prepared to clash. The chakra constructs locked hands as Naruto holds the ram seal. I know how to deal with Susanoo. Mokuton, Mokuryu no Jutsu, wood style, wood dragon technique, said Naruto as a large wooden dragon appeared from the ground and surrounded Mikoto's Susanoo, immobilizing it in the process. As that happened, Sasuke jumped out of the chakra construct as Naruto put his hands in the snake seal. Katan, Goka Mashitsu, fire style, great flame destruction, said Sasuke as his chest puffed up in preparation for his jutsu. Mikoto shook her head at Sasuke's attempt. This is Susanoo Sasuke-chan. Despite being weakened by this dragon, you won't be able to get through this with that fire jutsu. You'll need something better, thought Mikoto as she felt the ground beneath her and Kushina's feet rumble slightly. Kushina jumped away immediately to dodge, but Mikoto could not get out of the way in time. A branch came flying out of the ground as it latched around her arm tightly. Mikoto was flung out of the safety of her Susanoo as Sasuke let his jutsu fly. The stream of fire came out extremely fast as it neared the defenseless Mikoto. Just as it neared her, Kushina appeared as she put her hands in the ram seal. A seal spread out on the ground before her as Sasuke's jutsu was drawn to it and promptly sealed within the ground. Fuka Hoin, fire sealing method, said the Kyuubi-cloaked Kushina as the seal turned black once Sasuke's jutsu was finished. Kushina then put her hands in the tiger seal. Kai, release. The seal that absorbed Sasuke's jutsu glowed red as the fire stream that once came from Sasuke was now headed back toward the Uchiha. Sasuke never moved as Naruto appeared next to him in a shunshin. Mokuton, Hobi no Jutsu, wood style, wood expulsion technique, said Naruto as a large, dragon head made of wood rose from the ground and enclosed Sasuke and Naruto within to shield them from the fire. Once the fire died down, the dragon's head split back open and shifted back into the ground as Naruto was seen still holding the snake seal. Seems Naruto is done playing around. He's using jutsu after jutsu. I can barely keep up, said Mikoto, and Kushina nodded her head in agreement. Here comes another one. Mokuton, Jukai Koten, wood style, nativity of a sea of trees, said Naruto as behind him a torrent of trees sprang forth from the ground as they headed toward Kushina and Mikoto. The two mothers began to dodge the continuous waves of trees as they eventually landed on one once they stopped. Sasuke and Naruto both appeared in front of their own mother as they began a fast-paced taijutsu battle. Sasuke lashed out with a punch at Mikoto as she dodged the first strike but couldn't stop the next punch or kick that booted her away. Sasuke looked down at his chakra-enhanced body. This chakra from Naruto's Bijou makes me incredibly fast and strong, said Sasuke with a noticeable smirk as he headed off into the trees to find his mother and finish this fight. Naruto appeared in front of his mother as she lashed out with a punch expecting his arrival. Naruto caught the punch in his palm as just like before one of Kushina's chakra chains appeared from behind her and headed toward him. Right before hitting Naruto, a branch grew from the tree they were standing on to block the fast chakra chain. Kushina smiled at her son, realizing that he was showing his full potential as two more Narutos appeared on either side of him. The second Naruto planted a firm punch into the stomach of Kushina as the first Naruto performed a leg sweep to knock the hunched-over Kushina into the air. The third Naruto grabbed one of Kushina's legs as he tossed her violently through several of his own trees. Naruto then headed after his mother with the two clones running right next to him. He was prepared to finish his fight as well. With Sasuke. Sasuke found his mother getting up from the earlier kick. Mikoto was getting up, flowing through hand seals as she ended with the tiger seal. Katan, Ryuan Hoka no Jutsu, fire style, dragon flame song technique, said Mikoto as she sent out several large fire dragons at Sasuke. Sasuke sparked with lightning to respond. Chidori Nashir, Chidori current, said Sasuke as lightning sparked around him that deflected the large dragons headed toward him. Sasuke never stopped his attack as he continued toward Mikoto. Just before getting to her, Sasuke was halted from actually hitting her. Tsukiyomi, Moon Reader, said Mikoto, placing Sasuke under her Mangekyo enhanced Genjutsu. Sasuke fell unceremoniously on the ground behind Mikoto as she breathed out a sigh, not thankful that she stopped him but saddened that she was able to get him. I'm sorry, Kachan, said Sasuke, getting Mikoto's eyes to widen. Sasuke pierced Mikoto through the heart with a Chidori as she was now paralyzed and began to decay slightly from the powerful strike. I can't let you stay alive for any longer. It's okay, my baby boy, said Mikoto, turning to see Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. That was how he escaped her Genjutsu so easily. Before you seal me. I'm sure you want to know about what happened the night of the massacre. Sasuke's eyes widened. What? I already know what happened. Itachi probably won't tell you because it was an S-rank mission and he has some type of plan. However, I have no such restriction and I feel you need to know. And I want to hear your answer. With Naruto. Naruto found his mother recovering from his last attack as he approached her. Kushina saw her son coming and attempted to lash out with a punch only for one of Naruto's clones to grab that arm. Kushina attempted with the other only for it to be halted as well by Naruto's second clone. It is over, Kachan, said Naruto, causing his tree to open slightly. Kushina sank knee-deep into the sturdy wood before it locked her in place. Naruto's clones then morphed into the tree, becoming branches, as they held Kushina's arms down. The Kyuubi chakra shroud surrounding Kushina was absorbed as Kushina was left helpless against her son. My sweet baby, said Kushina as Naruto let his Jinchuriki cloak disappear, realizing all he had to do now was seal his mother. I don't know what to say. So, I'll just leave you with this. I'm so glad you grew up into a healthy young man. I'm happy that you have a friend like Sasuke and I'm sure you, if you have found one, have found a girl just like your mother. And finally, I'm happy that you were born to me and Minato that day. You're everything we could have hoped for and more. I love you. A few tears began to glisten in Naruto's eyes as he wiped them away before they could actually fall. You're right. I have grown up well. Mainly thanks to Sandaime. Even Jiraiya-sensei and Tsunade-bachan have helped. And you're right, I did make good friends, great friends really. And there is a girl whom I am smitten with. I even told her I loved her. And don't worry, she's just as headstrong as you are. I wish you two could have met, I'm sure you'd have liked her. Kushina smiled at her son with tears forming in her violet eyes. So you don't blame us for anything? I could have let Minato live. You would have had a father but I started Kushina before a hand from Naruto stopped her. There's no need, Kachan. We can't change the past nor should we want to. I'm happy. I'm happy to know I was loved by my parents. And I now know it for sure. I may have never gotten to meet you when I was little but I always pictured you being this beautiful and amazing. You're my mother and I love you too. The once black sclerae in Kushina's eyes turned back into normal sclera as her body glowed. Naruto realized that her Edo Tensei was ending and freed his mother. As she was freed, Kushina stood and walked over to her son. She grabbed him in a hug as her body continued to glow. Thank you. Thank you for being born to us. Thank you for allowing me to be your mother and Minato to be your father. Stay safe, Naruto-chan, said Kushina as her soul began to ascend from the body it was attached to. And I expect a ton of grandkids, Databane. Naruto blushed a serious shade of red as Kushina's soul finally vanished. Naruto smiled as he placed a hand on the tree he was standing on. Naruto forced all of his trees to reseed into the ground as Naruto could now make out Mikoto's body disappearing the same way as his mother did right in front of Sasuke. Naruto vanished in a shunshin to appear by his best friend. You okay? Questioned Naruto, placing a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. Yeah, just need a moment. Naruto, do you feel that other presence in the room with Jiraiya? Asked Kurama as Naruto took a moment to notice 4 chakra signatures in the room. That's Jiraiya-sensei. Pa and Ma are there. Plus, who's that? That's not Orochimaru, thought Naruto in return as Kurama replied. It's him, said Kurama as Naruto's eyes widened. Naruto's Jinchuriki cloak came back immediately as he vanished in a shunshin leaving Sasuke in the room by himself. With Jiraiya. So, you're who again? Questioned Jiraiya as he looked at a man in an Akatsuki cloak with an orange mask covering his face. Hi, I'm Tobi, said the masked man in a childish tone as he looked at Jiraiya. Hello, so, why are you here? Questioned Jiraiya again as Fukasaku and Shima were still attached to his shoulders. Tobi was about to answer before Naruto appeared above Tobi with a Rasengan twice as big as himself. Naruto let the Rasengan detonate as a huge explosion of energy occurred that completely covered Naruto and Tobi from Jiraiya. Damn. Hey kid, you didn't dash. Whack. Jiraiya grew another knot on his head from Shima hitting him. What did I tell you about that language, Jiraiya-chan, said Shima as Jiraiya nodded his head. The explosion from the Rasengan died down as Naruto was standing there all alone. Naruto, that was so fast. I've never seen you like this, said Jiraiya as Naruto closed his eyes to focus on his sensing ability. Naruto turned his head abruptly to the left as he saw Tobi sliding up through the floorboards. That was so fast, Naruto-kun. You almost hit Tobi with that jutsu. Luckily Tobi slipped and managed to evade, said Tobi making childish-like movements as he talked in that same childlike voice. Who the hell is this guy? He acts like such a kid, said Jiraiya as Naruto shook his head no. Sasuke came into view beside Naruto as he wondered the same thing. No, he's the progenitor of all of this. The reason why the Kyuubi attacked the night of my birth. The reason my parents died that night, said Naruto as the next part made Sasuke react in almost the same way as Naruto. And the reason the Uchihas were subjected to scrutiny, leading to their want for a coup, leading to their inevitable demise. He is the reason for all of this. Tobi immediately stopped acting like a child as his voice deepened considerably. How smart of you, Kyuubi. I'm impressed. Did that pet of a bijou tell you that? Madara, shouted Kurama angrily in Naruto's head as Naruto was being funneled with chakra from the angry bijou. Naruto's cloak turned more orange and began to crack the ground around him as he continued to look at Tobi. He did all of this, Naruto? Questioned Sasuke as Naruto nodded without turning his eyes off of Tobi. Sasuke then noticed that Orochimaru laid on the ground a few feet away with a large stone sword stabbed through his chest. Were you here to save him? Something like that. But then I remembered his betrayal against me and had a change of heart, said Tobi as he looked at Naruto. Plus, I was hoping he'd be injured enough so I could take him and extract his bijou. However, that didn't pan out, I see. Well, if you want my bijou then fight me for it. Right now, said Naruto as his eyes were now red and slit due to the influx of Kurama's chakra at the moment. Don't worry, Kyuubi. We shall meet again. However, I'll let one of my pawns deal with you. Until then, enjoy the little bit of time you have left in this world, said Tobi with an increasingly ominous voice as he seemed to disappear in a vortex. Naruto, said Jiraiya as he could feel the unbridled power being brought forth by his student. Calm down. Naruto's chakra output began to stifle slightly as his eyes turned back to normal and his cloak began to disappear. Naruto then turned his eyes toward his sensei. Let's go home. I need Yugi-chan, said Naruto as he began to walk out of the base of Orochimaru. Sasuke followed behind as Jiraiya stood still in the room alone with the dead body of Orochimaru. Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru's body once more as Fukasaku and Shima disappeared in puffs of smoke. Jiraiya's sage mode disappeared as he pulled out a scroll to seal his old friend's body into. Jiraiya followed after his student as he wanted to make sure he was okay. He'd never seen Naruto like this before. I see why Naruto was so angry. That guy killed his parents, said Jiraiya as he continued to catch up to his student. Unknown location. Rain poured outside at a fast rate as a man stood there alone watching over what appeared to be a city. The man had red, shoulder-length hair and rippled purple eyes. This man was the leader of the Akatsuki. Nagato, said the masked man as he appeared in a swirl behind the leader. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki is more powerful than before. Are you sure you can handle this? Nagato turned his head to look toward the masked man as his eyes seemed to glow. Once we capture 6, 7, and 8. I will handle that boy. No matter where he is. I'm more powerful as well, said Nagato as 6 figures came into view behind him. The figures all looked different except they all had orange hair and matching rippled purple eyes. We shall see Nagato. Our plan will soon become real. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time. Later.